and the use of a pretty varied arsenal of pitches, as they'll start it off with Dexter Fowler, the switch hitting center fielder. Now Fowler, it turns out, he didn't begin switch hitting until his pro career, and I love his grip from the left side. You notice the way he handles that he had a split grip, which he is trying to close up a little bit more recently, and lays down a little number in front of the plate. Easy play for Pudge.
And Fowler, he's been striking out a lot. He's got a little bit of a loop in his swing, and the Rockies were trying to smooth that out when we were in Denver for that series not too long ago. If you're going to bunt Pudge Rodriguez behind the dish, you better make sure somebody else has to handle it. That goes for any catcher, but Rodriguez, of course, blessed with that golden right arm.
Well, and you've seen a lot of catchers, JD. He's about as quick as I've ever seen a guy who gets from behind the plate to those little bunts in front of the dish.
Well, for a guy who's caught as long as he has, his mobility is incredible.
Now pumps one in on Clint Barmes now, and Jim Tracy really likes Barmes in the two-hole, and a couple of days ago was talking about him as being really a prototypical two-hole hitter. The average just a little over 250 early this year. He finds himself in a hole already, 0-2.
Yeah, and that two-hole, ideally you want a guy who's willing to take some pitches to let a speedy leadoff guy steal, and got one of those in Fowler. So if he reaches, Barmes can take some pitches, work the count a little bit, give Fowler a chance to steal a base, and capable of hitting behind the runner to the right side.
Muller's 0-2. Getting a little look off the plate. Now, previously it had been Troy Tulowitzki who had manned their two-hole in the lineup for the most part this year. Until Jim Tracy took over as manager, this now his 6th game at the helm of the Rockies. Little bloop, and that one's going to fall into right field. So the Rockies have their first run of the night now in Clint Barmes. And this is where the Rockies order gets interesting, though, with Todd Helton, one of the great veteran hitters in the game.
Yeah, you see the numbers this year. Todd hitting .311 with 7 home runs. He's driven in 34. Had some back issues last year that set him back some, but he has been the linchpin of this franchise for a number of years. Contract signs still through 2013, I think, his contract. 9-year deal they signed him to a few years back.
Muller's first offering to him pushed him off the plate, and there's that snap throw down to first base. You see that play a lot, and not always with a lot of success. Now it doesn't always blow up on you either, although the Astros have experienced that this year. But that's a play, guys with great arms, guys like Pudge, and we see with Quintero, they seem to really enjoy making that play down the first.
Yeah, and just because you don't get the guy doesn't mean it's not a good play too, because it just kind of sends a message and maybe tightens up that lead just a little bit.
A little bluff from Barmes, but he's not going anywhere, and the count now 2-0 on Helton. Helton 2 for 8 in this series. Former Tennessee Volunteer.
Little backdoor slider coming here.
Nope. A play for Berkman, and this will be a 3-6 put out it in an easy double play as it goes right back to Berkman. A 9-pitch inning for Brian Mueller, so he's off to a good start tonight. See what the Astros can do to Jason Marquis. get their look at Jason Marquis, who they roughed up a little bit back in Colorado. And here is the Southwest starting lineups for the Astros. Berkman is maybe the one guy who really misses Marquis in the Central Division. He has done all kinds of damage against this right-hander. And in fact, the Astros in general, there are a couple of guys. Carlos Lee's had some good career numbers against Jason Marquis.
And they've had a lot of looks at him over the years. There are his numbers for this season for the Rockies. And he's pitched very well. He came over from the Cubs. Bounced around a little bit the last couple of years. 7-3, tied for the league lead with those 7 wins. Anytime you have an ERA below 4 pitching your home games in Denver, you're doing something right.
Bourne's done a great job at the top of the lineup. He serves one into left field. That's a base hit. And so now the Astros had their speedy leadoff man aboard in the first inning. Bourne leads the National League with 17 stolen bases. Now will undoubtedly be a threat to run, although when he gets to first base, all eyes turn to this guy, Miguel Tejada, who is as hot a hitter as there may be right now in the game.
And so ideally, if you're thinking about stealing a bat, go ahead and get down there in the scoring position and give Miggy a chance to drive you in with that .362 batting average.
He leads the National League in hitting, second in all of Major League Baseball. Powers come back recently as well for Tejada. So you'd advocate stealing early in the at bat, like first pitch?
Yeah, ideally you might want to wait and get a favorable count, try to get to 1-0, but I have no problem with him going on the first pitch.
He's not, and Marquis misses a little bit outside.
And that kind of goes back to that conversation we had about Barmes being the ideal number 2 hitter, or having that approach. You see Miggy, when he's hitting number 2, has really done quite well, hitting .489 with a .722 slugging percentage, and that's through 90 at bats, so pretty good sized body of work there to analyze.
A lead for Bourne, not moving again. They just swing it a bouncer to the first base side of the infield, and so now the Astros have a little something going in the first against Marquis.
And that it's just a great approach. Marquis likes to sink the fastball. That one was up a little bit, and he just shoots it through that hole on the right side. Get a look at it here. Good inside out swing, making sure he doesn't roll over on the ball, because if you do that, you're looking at a little 6-4-3 double play.
What sets the inning up nicely now is big Hunter Pence comes to the plate, and Hunter today during batting practice working a lot with Sean Barry, and apparently not real satisfied with the way he's been swinging the bat, let's say in this last week or so. Chance here though to maybe start with a big inning against Marquis, in the first pitch sinks just a little below the knees for a ball.
I think the challenge for Hunter, like it is for so many hitters, is just to kind of stay back and then stay through the ball. Like middle of the diamond and stay through the ball. He has a tendency to try to be too quick. When he does that, he rolls over on the ball, and that produces those ground balls to the left side.
Marquis has been behind 2 of the 3 hitters already, and now pours one in there for a strike. Looks like that two-seamer, that sinker's got a lot of movement early on.
Well, I was looking at some numbers on him earlier, and he's gotten a lot of ground balls this year. He's been a ground ball pitcher over the years, but he's really doing a nice job in that regard this year. He's induced 10 double plays already. Sinker, slider, curveball, changeup.
Now it's 1-1 to Hunter. There's a bouncer to first, gets by Hilton. That should get a run home. Here comes Bourne. No throw. Wow, throw cut off near the mound, but the Astros draw first blood tonight. Wasn't fully convinced that Hop was going to even offer a throw to the plate. Cut off by Hilton though, and the Astros on the board 1-0.
Not that they're wearing out Marquis, but 3 hits in a row. A little soft line drive to left and a couple base hits through the infield. And it speaks to Hunter's strength right there. Just a half a swing, but strong enough to put some pretty good pace on that ground ball and squirt it through the hole. Here comes Bourne.
Now Pence picks up his 20th RBI of the season. The inning continues now for Carlos Lee. Carlos was working a lot on going the opposite way today during batting practice. And he watches one off the plate, and again Marquis falls behind 1-0, and that's 3 straight hitters.
Right, he's probably got a little post last start against the Astros in Coors Field syndrome going, where they really roughed him up. 10 hits, 9 runs, and 3 2/3.
Finds his zone there and count 1-1.
And the other thing, he's getting such good movement, and it may be just tough to command it right now. I mean, when you get that kind of movement on your fastball, throwing strikes can be a bit of a challenge. It's a trade-off most pitchers would take, though, to get that kind of movement.
You see his good numbers against Marquis at 371 lifetime average, and represents the best power against Marquis as well in this Astros lineup, and it's 2-1. I mean, for all the great numbers that Lance has against him, and we'll see those in a moment, Carlos is the one guy who has taken Marquis yard more than anybody else with those 4 home runs. Lee has 9 homers this year and has driven in 31. Should get something decent here. Marquis 2-1. There's a swing, and that shot right back up the middle, base hit. A stop sign thrown up at third, and so they'll be loaded for Lance Berkman.
And Jason Marquis is begging for a mulligan right now. This is the worst possible scenario for a starting pitcher on the road. 4 consecutive singletons. Good approaches, all 4 hitters. You talked about it, Dave, with Carlos trying to go the other way, trying to use the big part of the field. And a great example there as he goes down and stays through that ball. Sean Berry back in action, the hitting coach who came back to start this homestand. He's made a difference.
Well, it is great to see Sean back, and I'll tell you, he was working overtime today with Hunter Pence, and then Carlos, I don't know how much work it is helping him along as much as it's just listening to Carlos.
Yeah, well, that's a big part of the job. It's part instructor, part psychologist, part cheerleader.
That's an early visit tonight for Bob Abernathy.
We saw a lot of Bob last night.
So Tejadas at third, Pence at second, Lee at first base, and now Berkman, who has crushed Jason Marquis over the course of his career to the tune of better than a 500 career batting average, steps in. The switch hitter, and the first pitch is buried for a ball.
Now, see if Marquis comes off that 2-seamer at some point and throws more 4-seamers, a 4-seam fastball, an easier pitch to control. It doesn't move as much, and he may have to throw that a little bit more to try to get ahead of some of the hitters.
It's 1-0 to Lance. Again in the dirt.
But he's not going to be overly aggressive here with Lance. When you get into this kind of position, he realizes that rarely do you lose a game in the first, but sometimes you do. And if he makes a big mistake here and Puma knocks him out of the ballpark, it can be a long uphill climb for the Rockies.
The 2-0 on the way. That's a ground ball to the right side, smothered. Great play by Stewart. A run scores, but Berkman retired on the 4-3 putout.
Well, there's the high five to pass around in the dugout. Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively tonight. Smith's in left, Extra Fowler, the speedster, in center. Hop's got a big arm. Barmas in there for Tulowitzki. He's got an injured wrist. Stewart at second. Atkins at third. Helton at first. Paul Phillips, recently recalled from the minor leagues, does the catching.
Speaking of catching, here's Pudge. Ron Rodriguez. 267 for the year. 5 home runs, 22 RBIs. Done a very nice job, both behind the plate and at the plate. And he's got a chance here to extend the Astros lead. 2 men in scoring position. And Marquis sends one over the plate. That one's going to get through into center field, a base hit. 1 run in. Carlos, who went back towards second, going to be held. RBI single for Rodriguez, and the Astros lead now 3-0 in the first.
And that represents the number of earned runs that Jason Marquis had allowed in the 3 starts prior to this one tonight. So he got whacked by the Astros in Colorado, pitched 3 dandies, and he comes back to face Houston, and he's getting hit around again. Though it's not like he's giving up doubles in the alley, just single after single. That one a broken bat.
And primarily ground balls, which is
what he does.
Yeah, what he's trying to do. Now here's Jeff Blum back in the lineup again today. He was back in yesterday after missing about a week, as the average at 270. Switch hitter left side against the right-hander. Marquis again falls behind 1-0.
Down, just cannot. Well, that was a little change up, but same idea. Just maybe trying to make too good of a pitch early. But under siege like this, another runner in scoring position, that's the tendency. But somewhere in that Astros dugout, there's a big right-hander named Paulino going, how about me? Where's my 3 runs in the first?
Well, Blum will pop this one up. Should be playable out there at left field. Smith coming on, and it'll be his ball. So 2 away, and not deep enough to get home a run. It'll be up to Edwin Masonette to keep the inning going.
Interesting situation here for Jim Tracy. It's only the first inning, so you don't normally think about an intentional walk, but he's down 3 runs already, and Brian Muller's on deck, and Brian is not a good hitter at all. So you can understand if they went ahead and put Masonette on.
Well, you'd know one.
Well, yeah, right now, yeah, he's not putting him on, but he's just telling Paul Phillips, use your head. Got the pitcher coming up on deck.
Well, I mean, the one consideration is Moeller. The other is Masonette, and he's been swinging it beautifully since coming up. And that pitch right there was one that would be difficult for a lot of guys even to lay off.
Yeah, Marquis with his body language, you could tell clearly thought that ball should have been called a strike. But I would suspect that would be the plan here, to try to just make perfect pitches throughout this at bat. And if you end up walking him, so be it, and go after Moeller.
Well, that one's a little low 2-0, and you'd even wonder if they just intentionally put him on at some point. Now, he threw a first pitch strike to Michael Bourne, but that's been it. I mean, he's fallen behind every single Astro who has come up.
Yeah, and this is a situation where Masonette, you don't want to get crazy, but you want to go ahead and be aggressive here. With the pitcher on deck and 2 outs, get something close. Go ahead and take a whack at it.
Not even close. So much for that.
That's Marquis, though. I mean, that looked like a wiffle ball. It's 93 with just absolute dive bombing action on it.
Well, it's a little like the story of Moeller on occasion. Sometimes moves too much. Well, there's that automatic strike, and it's 3-1 on Masonette. 3 runs already in, but a chance for an even bigger inning. What with Lee at third base, Rodriguez at first.
Situation here as a young hitter, you've got to know. Again, you got to know the situation. Normally, you're going to be patient in this situation, but with the pitcher on deck, you want to attack if you throw something in the zone.
Well, that's just off the plate. Ball 4, and they're loaded up for Moeller. Well, there are good hitting pitchers, and then there are, you know, Ryan Moeller. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Jim Deshaies.
Yeah, I can. Go ahead. I've been under that bus a lot now.
You know, you do a good job of that. And Moeller has had a tough time in general in his career, and of course, again this year. Moeller, one of the worst hitting pitchers right now in the game, an average under 50 for his career. And he'll take a strike.
Yeah.
Now what is the thinking here, though? Because you've been in his shoes, quite literally. You had the bases loaded. You know he's going to be throwing strikes. This is your chance.
Yeah, but you got to know your limitations. If you can't hit it, like you're thinking, maybe I can work a walk here.
Pick up an RBI.
Yeah, my first major league RBI was a bases loaded walk.
Well, there's a guy trying to maybe do too much.
I always went with the 50-50 approach. There's a 50-50 chance that ball's going to be out of the zone. It's not true, but that was my philosophy.
Well, there's Lee at third. He's been there for a while. Pudge, second base. We got Masonette at first. They're loaded. And the bouncer to third should hit it. Atkins will go to the bag. And that'll do it for the Astros in the first inning. A 25-pitch inning, though, for Jason Marquis. And the Astros drop a 3 spot on him. Great start to the game.
Welcome back to Minute Maid Park. Bart Ennis with you. The Astros have jumped on the Rockies 3-0 as we head to the second inning. The Astros are celebrating their 10 years at Minute Maid Park this season, and to honor some of the great moments in the ballpark, we present the 10-year bracket challenge. Round 2 begins today with Brad Osmus' home run in his final game coming last year. That moment going up against Jeff Bagwell's pinch hit in 2002 on the same day his good friend Darryl Kyle passed away. Both great moments here at the ballpark. Go to Astros.com to cast your vote today. Dave?
All right, thank you, Bart. Boy, nice start to this one tonight. And for Moeller, he was terrifically efficient at the top of the first inning, which is 9 pitches thrown, and that's coming off his complete game in Pittsburgh where he threw 123. So no doubt would like to keep that pitch count low again, although he's got the heart of the order now in Brad Hopp, Garrett Atkins, and Seth Smith. But with 3 runs under his belt, probably feels like that mound just a smidge taller than it was out there in the first inning. Here's Hopp, one of the great hitters in the National League. And he takes ball 1.
And to me, a nice 3 or 4 run cushion is the perfect setup to pitch a good game. Because you've got a little leeway. You get comfortable out there, you relax, you tend to do your best work when you're relaxed. You fall behind, you can challenge. And Brian has such good command, you're not worried about him walking people anyway. He's only walked 9 guys so far this year.
That was 1-1 to Hopp, and that's pulled foul.
And sometimes when you get involved in those more lopsided games, it's tougher to stay sharp because you spend so much time sitting in the dugout between innings, and you can kind of lose focus and lose rhythm a little bit.
Well, there's a difference, too, between having a lead and having a huge lead, a blowout ball game. I've heard some complain about that. It's 1-2. And that might be playable. Now it's going to drop in front of Bourne. A base hit for Brad Hopp. You talk about his command, JD, and he says he owes his great command to the work of his father. And you see, before the ball game, he has a little ritual that he's done for his entire life where he stencils in his dad's initials on the mound. And it's a poignant story, and it's a funny story. His and his father's. It was back to when he was a little kid. His dad was great with his hands, he said, and great with woodwork, and built him a tee when he was just a little guy, like 5 years old, and got him started. So he pours one into Atkins for a strike. But his dad eventually taught him to be a pitcher. Now, his dad was an athlete, but never played baseball, and wanted to teach him how to play the game, and so he became his catcher. But his dad was not real agile, did not have catcher's equipment. Brian misses outside. And so Brian felt like he had to have his best command when throwing to his dad. Otherwise, his dad wouldn't catch him. And so he's always given his dad credit for that. And then told me a great story yesterday about building a mound in his backyard. They lived across the street from a cemetery. As Atkins fouls one off. And, after a fresh grave was dug and there'd be the excess dirt, they'd go over with a couple of buckets. And they would scoop it up, bring it home, and over a period of time, were able to build a real nice red clay mound in their backyard. And that's the mound off which he learned to pitch to his father. And still shows this tribute to his dad every time he comes out to pitch.
Giving new meaning to a dead fish fastball, perhaps.
I suppose so.
Yeah, that's I don't know, because anybody who played as a kid, not anybody, but most will tell tales of their dads, and in some cases their moms. Russell Ortiz never knew his dad, and his mom used to catch him out in the yard. He credits her with his big league career, and that's why it's so neat for Russ to have his mom here on Mother's Day when all the moms come out for that first pitch. But yeah, you think about, you're talking about Brian throwing to his dad and how he had to hit spots, because if you overthrow dad, he's not going to go get it. You're going to go get it. And the last thing you want to do is one hop dad and hit him in the lip. That's not going to work very well either.
Runners going, and the 3-2 to Atkins is fouled. Third base side. And his dad, he said the other great thing about that mound, I said, so, was it a good mound? I mean, I can imagine, and I'm not trying to throw my dad under the bus, but I can imagine my dad trying to build a mound in my yard. It probably wouldn't have been that great. And he said, no, it was a fabulous mound. His dad did a great job. And he made a wooden rubber with these 5-inch pegs, and he says it stuck in there beautifully, held its ground all those years. And they said he'd give up his entire career just for the opportunity to have had his dad see him pitch in the big leagues. Broke his heart. His dad passed away a year before he made it to the big. Atkins, who's really struggled, pops one up near first. Easy play for Berkman, and there's one gone on the second.
Now his dad, Fred, that's who saw him carve that FM in the back of the mound, Fred Moeller. Summer is here, and the Astros all-you-can-eat Thursdays are the perfect way to spend a night at the ballpark. For just $35, you can enjoy your favorite ballpark fare with unlimited hot dogs, nachos, popcorn, peanuts, soda, and water. It's at our special all-you-can-eat concession stand. It's a great idea for families. Bring the herd out and feed them. 1-877-9-ASTROS. Boy, you could just come in and eat all night, and you probably wouldn't have to feed them for 3 days. Tickets available at Astros.com or 1-877-9-ASTROS. But tomorrow is Thursday.
All day. Muller with the man at first, and his first pitch to Smith is high and away. Seth Smith last night drove in a run. 274 average for the year. And with Matt Holliday gone, he's been the man to take over out there for Holliday. Holliday now apparently running out of Oakland. It's not a huge surprise. And there's a bouncer, could be two. Easy flip to Tejada. Nice turn and a good stretch at first base by Berkman. And Moeller has another fairly efficient second inning. So 1.5 in the books tonight. Astros off to the nice 3-0 start, and we'll see the all right, second inning. Top of the order again for the Astros, on top 3-0 already. And Marquis will start Bourne with a strike this time. I'm Dave Raymond with Jim DeShays. 1-1 the count now to Michael Bourne. And again, we should remind folks, Brownie will be back. He's out today, out tomorrow, but the passing of his mother Hazel over the weekend, and he's gone back to attend to family. Marquis sends one in.
87 years of age. She had been battling lung cancer for a couple of years, so Brownie out of the saddle for a couple of days. We got Dave in here tonight, and tomorrow Brett Dolan will come over from Astros Radio to help out.
There's Brett.
I don't know. To draw something, shouldn't I?
Now he's going to have to dig into the closet tomorrow. He's going to do TV.
Get a tie, break out a tie. We don't have to. We can back off. There he is. Just want to give him a tie. Sorry, Michael.
Bourne bounces it to second. Varmus, nice play, and 1 out in the second inning. But for Marquis, this would have to be a big inning, right? I mean, with 25 pitches in the first, falling behind 3-0. I'm sure the goal here, the goal is the same every inning, come out and retire the 3 hitters you face, but it's sort of critical.
Yeah, it's critical for a couple of things. One, to kind of get your head back right, and two, to let the manager know you're going to hang in there.
Hey, our Texas Ford Dealer League leaders features Miguel Tejada's National League ranks. Look at this stuff. Miggy takes one off the plate, but I mean, leading the league in hitting, the doubles, the multi-hit games, and they're not just multi-hit games, Shady. We're talking 3 and 4 hit games, night in, night out. It seems.
He got 2 4-hit games during his hitting streak now, hitting 460 something over the course of this hitting streak.
Of course, now a 17-game streak with a base hit back in the first inning. That's with the base is empty. Marquis 1-1. And a high bouncer again to Varmus. Nice backhand stop on the candy hop. 2 away. We'll check in with Bart.
Yeah, Dave, we want to remind fans coming up later in our Dodge Grab Life feature, our starting pitcher tonight, Brian Moeller, will tell us about his favorite movie. So stay tuned for that. I wonder if it's a baseball movie.
Maybe it's Brian's song.
It's got to be Caddyshack.
Got to be Caddyshack. Who doesn't love Caddyshack?
I mean, every time I hear that question, I'm always baffled when people respond with something other than Caddyshack.
Well, Dave, I personally am a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest kind of guy.
Here's Pence now. And that's just off on the corner around the first strike.
And I think that happened to win maybe 7 Academy Awards. I don't know how many Caddyshack rang up.
Well, how many sequels did One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest have? Another bouncer to short. Hey, Varmus, pretty nice job. It gets them all. A 1-2-3 inning, and indeed Marquis got that shutdown frame. A 10-pitch inning for the right-hander. So on to the third. Well, you know, the Astros are celebrating their 10 years at Minute Maid Park this season. And to honor some of the great moments in the ballpark, we present the 10-year bracket challenge. Round 2 begins today with Brad Ausmus's final game homer versus the Jeff Bagwell hit in 2002. Go to Astros.com to cast your vote today.
And we're giving away T-shirts too, Dave. Along those same lines, first 10,000 fans will get a T-shirt on Wednesday, June 10th. It's courtesy of the Methodist Heart Center. So I think 10 is the magic number here in 2009.
Well, today, at least to this point, 3 has been the magic number. Astros win streak at 3. They lead 3-0, and here we are in the third. Mueller will face the bottom third of the order. Ian Stewart struggled a little bit, a 177 average, but does have some power, 7 home runs and 20 RBIs. Well, Moeller so far has faced the minimum, although he's given up a base hit in each of the first 2 innings.
Get that sinker working. He's gotten a couple of double play ground balls. He's a fun guy to watch pitch because he can execute a game plan. Catcher sets up one side of the plate and he typically hits his spot.
He's got a 1-on-1 now to Stewart. The infield back. And that pop up looks like it might be heading foul. I think Carlos may have a play down there. Almost. How about that hustle from the big fella?
Big fella had it moving. I think it hit the railing. But he was in position to make a play if that stayed in play.
Now every time he goes over into that corner, I'm reminded of that game a few years ago in Milwaukee when he did a similar thing, went over to a railing about that height. But you see how there's that fencing there, which prohibits him from sticking his hand in as he did in Milwaukee and grabbed a guy's leg.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Guy wasn't paying attention, grabbed his leg and startled the heck out of him. Little in, 2-2 now on Stewart.
And Carlos buys into that play ball thing. That'll really start the line. You know, they don't say work ball, they say play ball. He's got a lot of little boy in him.
He's got room for several. Here's the 2-2. So Mueller goes full on Stewart. Now Mueller was very efficient in that first inning, 9 pitches, which is I mean, he's already hit half that already here against Ian Stewart. Here's a payoff, and that looked good, and he got it. First strikeout of the night for Brian Mueller, and Stewart's struggles continue.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised he didn't pull the trigger, at least offer at this pitch, a borderline pitch. With 2 strikes, probably ought to take a whack at it.
Now Paul Phillips, who's 3 for 10 since coming up. 3-0 Astros, and Mueller looking good early on. Now he had that game earlier this year, and I'm trying to recall off the top of my head who that was against. He had 3 perfect innings to start, and then it just unraveled.
Yeah, that was the game. I didn't do that game, as a matter of fact. So it was a Saturday game.
The Rangers by any chance?
Big Fox did it. It might have been the Ranger game. Yeah, that would be it.
Now he'll get a visit.
I was off that day, Dave. I was probably in the pool. Maybe doing a little barbecuing.
Very nice. Any golf?
No, did not golf that day. But I do recall coming to the ballpark the next day and hearing about it and talking about it. Yeah, it started to get like 9 up, 9 down, and then things kind of. But that Ranger lineup is so potent. Things can blow up on in a hurry against that club.
Well, after the visit, the 1-0 to Phillips, and that'll be an easy ground ball for Tejada. That one, they're typically out. 2 away.
Well, check out the Chick-fil-A foul poles. There's one down the right field line. There's one down the left field line. And if an Astro player hits either one of them, fans from this game can take their ticket stub to any Greater Houston area Chick-fil-A for a free Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. Did I hear chickens?
Sick them on the chicken. I was at Chick-fil-A today. The kids had a little Chick-fil-A today. Well, Mueller to Marquis, and that's an easy comebacker. Taking care of his opposite number. Another quick inning. 9 more pitches for Brian Mueller. He's in a rocket chair today. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Berkman due up. enough to peel back the roof.
Yeah.
A little threatening up there.
Yeah. I don't know how warm it is. Nice day today, though. Didn't get too bad. There's folks on the roof deck across the way. They would probably appreciate the roof rolling back.
If for no other reason than the AC would flow right out there direct. This looks like an entertaining place to see the game.
You know, how about put a little jazz combo up there? Have them playing, have the game on.
Have you ever been up there?
A couple hours. I was up there while the ballpark was being built.
Because there's like a little club up there and everything.
Yeah.
It's a good time. Well, heart of the order in this third inning now for the Astros. They'll try to expand their lead. Already a 3-0 advantage. Big Carlos. And Marquis' first pitch to him. A little low. Well, that's been the story tonight, it seems, for me. Marquis battling from behind for the most part of that first inning. Wrapped around for 5 hits and 3 runs. Carlos trying to go oppo again right there and evens the count at 1-1.
And you were talking earlier about Sean Barry working with Carlos and Hunter and others, and invariably a hitting coach is going to tell a guy, hey, make sure you stay on the ball, stay through it, think about hitting it up the middle or the other way. You almost never hear a hitting coach say, hey, today when you get in the cage, what I want you to do is work on trying to jerk the ball as far as you possibly can.
Well, Sean, it turns out Sean wasn't even really asking him to work on that today. He was walking toward the cage and he told Sean, he says, hey, I figured out the trick to going opposite field. Here's a 1-2. That misses.
And that was.
And Sean said, well, what is it? He said, well, I can't explain it, but I think I figured it out. And Sean, doing the great job he does, says, well, you know, super.
Good for you. Yeah.
do that then.
Well, he is such a good hitter, and you know, maybe it just he felt something maybe in his swing.
2-2.
And that allowed him to stay inside the ball, because that's what hitters talk about, keeping the hands in, staying inside the ball. You don't want to cast the swing out and get out around it. That's when you hit those weak little ground balls.
Now, Carlos is close to a hitting savant maybe as there is. He works hard at it, but he has a real innate intelligence and ability about hitting. Here's a 3-2. And they didn't even come close. So Marquis being really careful with Carlos in that at bat.
Well, it's interesting. You talk to different hitters and pitchers too, and there's some guys that are very mechanical, very, very thoughtful, and they can explain every little move they make and why they do it. And then there are other guys, and they have no idea. And Yogi Berra comes to mind as a guy who was very simplistic in his approach. If you read anything or ever talked to Yogi about hitting, his philosophy was, I just see the ball and I hit it. And I played for a couple of years with Kirby Puckett, and it was very much the same thing. Just see it and hit it. And I would imagine that's kind of what Miguel Tejada would tell you, too.
Right.
I don't think he's thinking about where his hands are and he's just going to see the ball and hit it.
Marquis to Berkman, and he actually got Lance in the first inning, although Berkman ended up with an RBI on it. One of the few times he's been able to retire the Astros switch hitter. And Berkman's career numbers against Marquis, it's not a piddling amount. I mean, 23 hits and 45 at-bats coming in. It takes it off the plate.
Marquis came up with Atlanta, but then was traded to St. Louis, so he spent a lot of time in the Central Division with St. Louis and then Chicago, so the Astros have had a lot of looks at him over the years. And he's thrown 124 innings against the Astros.
It's 2-0, and Berkman will hammer that one to center field. Long run for Dexter Fowler, but he's quick, and he gets there. And Carlos will get some exercise.
And we talk a lot on deep fly balls. If a base runner can determine early that the play is going to be made, then scramble back and tag in advance. That ball was not the case. That's a situation there where you've got to go pretty much almost all the way to second base, give yourself a chance to score if it drops in, and then you have plenty of time to retreat and get to first.
I don't want to beat up on him, but of all guys on this Astros club that you think about tagging at first and moving to second, I mean, Carlos is toward the bottom of that list. I mean, it would have to be a unique situation.
Yeah, well, in this ballpark, if somebody juices one to deep center, but that's a tough read to make because you want to give yourself a chance to score if it doesn't get caught.
Here's Pudge, who's already driven in a run with a base hit today, and he takes his strike from Jason Marquis. A 3-run first for the Astros tonight on 5 hits. They batted around in that first inning. But Marquis came back with a very good second. Although he walked Carlos and was behind Berkman 2-0. Command an issue tonight. And Pudge will serve that foul to the right side and into the club level of seats.
We've seen Marquis struggle, and we've also seen him very good. For his career, a winning pitcher, he's a guy that, especially when he was in St. Louis, it seemed like you hear a lot of complaints about him that he wasn't living up to expectation, pitching below his stuff. But at the end of the day, pretty solid major league pitcher. 86 wins, 73 losses.
The 0-2 pitch, and Pudge is done for the second out in the third inning. Well, I think, with Marquis, I go back a couple of years ago when he was in St. Louis, a World Series year. And I don't know, exactly how that thing works out, but he was like 14 and 16, I want to say. And there were games where he was left in there to soak up 12, 15 earned runs.
He had a couple starts because the bullpen was wore out, where Tony La Russa just asked him, hey, hang in there. He took a couple beatings for the Redbirds that year.
To me, that's like the ultimate teammate, though. Blum will rip one into center. A base hit will keep the inning going, and Carlos drops anchor at second base.
Yeah, well, you really have no choice. You can't opt out of the game, but nonetheless, you're appreciative of the effort. And that's why I think it was Lou Piniella, I read once, said the way he evaluates his starting pitchers is he takes all their starts and he throws out the 3 or 4 worst and the 3 or 4 best. And then he takes a look at the rest and says, that's the body of work that I'm going to use to evaluate my pitcher.
That same year we're talking about, 06, with the Cardinals. He led the league in a lot of things, including losses, runs, earned runs. But home runs, one of the things that have been a bugaboo in his career. 35 of them given up in 06. And you even look this year, 6 home runs in 68 innings. He actually has a better handle on it this year than maybe he's had in recent seasons. But he is always that guy that I think you have to consider a candidate to give up the lone run.
Because he's had command issues. So, he's a guy that's thinking from hitters where stick around, hang in there long enough, and he'll open up the door for you. He'll make a mistake with a couple guys, maybe hang a breaking pitch. Heading for cover. An ugly finder lashed into the Astros dugout.
The question is, who did it find?
I don't know, but if he got close to Valverde, he's been hurt enough. He needs to go to the clubhouse and climb in a bunker.
Well, Masonette a little late again at the count. Quickly 0-2 on Edwin. I mentioned earlier, Edwin has done a real nice job. I mean, just thrown right into the starting lineup. He comes in tonight hitting .393. And it's been a lot of fun for him. I was asking him today about hitting at the big league level versus the minor leagues and whether or not it's easier or how much more difficult it is. And he'll tap one toward Barmes, and that'll end it as Stewart forces out Blum, and the inning is over. His eyes were wide. I think it's been quite an adjustment for him. We go to the fourth. Astros with a nice 3-0 lead. Doors here. We'll see the top of the order. Time for the Aflac Trivia. Who are the top 2 Tennessee natives in home runs in Major League history?
Jed Clampett. We'll go with Jed.
And Red Barber?
Maybe Jethro. Jethro had a little pop. Well, Todd Helton's from Tennessee.
That seems like an obvious
That's kind of hanging curve, you think?
I don't know. I think it's a trap.
Phil Garner.
Could be scrap iron. It's not Dexter Fowler. 0 for 1 today. Tried to bunt his way onto the first inning. This guy's got speed to burn. And a guy who skipped the AAA level entirely. I think they may have moved him along a little faster than they had anticipated as he fouls one off. But it is really hasn't worked out so poorly for him or for the Rockies, although he struggled a little bit lately.
Well, he can flat out play the position. He brings speed to the top of their order. And they must feel like he's the kind of kid that can deal with some adversity up here. So, you know, if you've got a kid who's a little fragile and you're afraid that he's going to get knocked on his heels if he comes to the big leagues and struggles and has to be sent back down, then you're a little cautious. But if you feel like a kid's got tough enough makeup, then you're willing to push that kid a little bit.
Could be trouble. Carlos with a run into the corner, but he'll track it down. 1 out in the 4th inning. And he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders, Dexter Fowler. This is a guy who had a scholarship to go play ball at Miami, and Harvard wanted him to come play basketball. Yeah. So he's probably a together guy.
How many people can say they turned down Harvard on their resume?
How many people would turn down Harvard? I mean, that's tough to do.
I brushed him off.
Yeah, I bet you did. Here's Barmes again. I'm going to watch one high. Barmes has one of the 2 hits tonight for the Rockies.
I was so a little impressed by Harvard, I didn't even bother applying.
Well, you know that idea, they don't even offer athletic scholarships. Another one off the plate, 2-0 to Barmes. So why would you go there?
Well, and there's been a few, big leaguers. You know, Osmus was a Dartmouth guy, but he never played baseball at Dartmouth. He just went to school there.
Well, you went to a baseball factory, Lemoyne.
Yeah, that's right.
Swinging and miss by Barmes. But Lemoyne has turned out a few big names.
Yeah, we've had a couple of guys. Tommy Browning didn't finish at Lemoyne, but he spent 3 years there.
How flaky was Browning?
He's okay.
Ground ball up the middle. Tejada has it. He shows off the arm, 2 away.
He's just left-handed, like the rest of us.
Okay. Bring up a left-handed hitter in Todd Helton. Well,
how many home runs has Helton hit in his career?
A lot. Let's find out. Let's go to the book.
He's got 7 this year,
which was his total last year, but 317 with his home runs this year.
He's definitely going to be one of our 2 picks.
Okay. What about scraps? You look up scraps yet?
Just don't know. Oh, we're not supposed to cheat when we answer these questions? Brownie's not here. I'm cheating. I don't care. Don't tell him when he gets back.
I don't mind the cheating. I think I do think that the Helton's mere presence here is a trick.
Well, it's hard when you're trying to cheat and your pages won't load. It's just frozen. I'm trying to Google Gar here.
The internet's not helping.
Faster than any erotic serve.
Can of corn for Michael Bourne out in center field. And that'll do it in the 4th inning. Boy, it's gone according to plan for Brian Moeller. He is cruising tonight. Edwards with a 3-0 lead, and he'll Our answer to the Aflac trivia question today.
Aflac!
I just want to know, Helton was not a deke at all.
No. And Steve Finley, 304. I thought Finley was from Kentucky, but apparently born in Tennessee. Phil Garner, though, did crack the top 10. Union City, Tennessee for Steve Finley. Phil Garner with 109 career home runs, number 10 on the all-time home run list from the great state of Tennessee. Beta Pinson, number 3. Bill Madlock. Pretty good players. Timmy McCarver was a Tennessee guy. See? Internet can make anybody appear smart.
Well,
or
I'll tell you what's interesting there.
In the know.
Moeller taps one foul. 1-2 the count on Bryan, who is, we discuss every time he comes up, it's almost unfair. Not a very good hitter.
He's a good trier, though, Dave.
He is a good trier. The thing about the internet, though, here, I wouldn't even know where to start or how to get to wherever it is that you got. That's good.
It's baseballreference.com, and I just happened to click on Helton, and then there was a little link for Tennessee, and that lists all the players from the state of Tennessee.
Swinging a miss by Moeller. I thought he might have gotten a piece of that. One gone in the 4th inning. It's a second punch out today for Marquis. Hey, Jack of the Box standings feature the National League leaders in infield hits, and looky there, the top 2, Houston Astros. Of course, Hunter's made a good living on that. And Bourne, you'd figure with his speed.
Yeah, Hunter gets a nice break out of the box, and he gets a lot when he rolls over on a pitch. You know, Hunter would probably tell you he wishes he didn't have that many infield hits because he'd rather be driving the ball, but it's still nice that speed helps. If you scuffle a little bit, you can scratch out an infield knock every now and then.
Bourne already with 1 hit today. Late start in right field for a hop, but he'll get there. And 2 out in the 4th inning. Well, Hunter, I went down to ask Hunter today about that situation in the 9th inning yesterday, and it was go either way with it. I can see where some people might have thought last night Hunter should have bunted in the 9th inning.
1st and 2nd, nobody out. The Astros have tied the game. There's a lot of folks arguing that Hunter should have bunted in that at bat.
And there are a lot of people who would argue that the right move was to let him hit. And he very rarely gets doubled off because of that speed that allows him to get all those infield hits. But in fact, the one scenario you would not want happened as he did get doubled off. And Tejada lines one to right field, and that is a very quick inning for Jason Marquis. 7 lousy pitches, so we go to the 5th. Astros baseball on Fox Sports Houston is brought to you by AT&T, by Dodge, and by Southwest Airlines. A great night at the ballpark so far tonight. Astros with that 3-0 lead, and Moeller pitching great so far through 4 innings. We talked about it at the pregame, JD, but this Astros team right now playing about as well as it has all year long. And I suppose not a real big surprise that the starting pitching has been good.
That's what I mean. If you pitch well and you get shutdown starts from your starting pitching, it covers up all the other problems, weaknesses, issues. You get caught stealing, you make an error, you don't get a man in from third with less than 2 outs. All those little things that become talking points after a loss are diminished. Like we were just talking last half, Hunter Pence not bunting. A lot of people, why he should have bunted. Well, I defended Coop last night. To me, there's very little black and white in baseball. It's almost always gray. So you can always see a point, a reason why something is done. I understand that in such a baseball 101, that's a bunt situation, but you have to consider the personnel. Hunter Pence does not have a sacrifice bunt in his major league career. So you're going to be asking a guy to do something in a critical situation that he's never done before. Now you can argue till you're blue in the face. Well, he's a big leaguer. He should be able to get a bunt down. Well, the reality is a lot of these guys have never been asked to bunt throughout their careers. They were the star in high school. They were the star in college. They were the star in the minor leagues, and they were paid, or their job was to drive in runs, not to get down bunts.
I can understand and appreciate that. He said he could get it down if asked. His Hop waits on a 1-2.
Sure. Well, who's going to tell you that they couldn't?
That's a second base hit of the night for Hop. So lead man on in the 5th inning. Well, a couple years ago, 2003, I did a handful of games for the San Francisco Giants and had a couple of chats with Felipe Alou. He was the manager of the Giants at the time. And Felipe contends that everybody has to be able to bunt. Now, he has a personal connection to it. The 1962 World Series. Giants in the World Series with the Yankees. Game 7. Lead man on in the 9th inning. They're trailing by a run. And he's up. And they asked Felipe Alou to bunt the runner-up. It's his brother, Matty Alou. He can't get him up. He fails on the bunt attempt. And they end up losing the ball game as Moeller pours one into Atkins for strike one. And to this day, Felipe Alou feels like the entire World Series is on his shoulders. Ooh. And he felt like that every player on the team has to practice bunting seriously and should at all times be ready and available and willing to bunt when asked. Even, he would contend, Barry Bonds.
And did he ever ask Barry Bonds to bunt?
Not once. The pitch is outside. It's 1-1.
And in theory, I agree with Felipe. It would be nice if all your guys could execute the basic fundamentals of the game, like get a bunt down. But the reality is, some guys just aren't going to be very good at it. And then you get into the whole question. And then there's the whole. Larry Dierker used to make this point a lot. He went into the dugout, the manager.
The fly ball to right field. Pence has all kinds of room. In fact, comes in. And there's one going to 5th.
But Dirk said when he went into the dugout, from sitting up here and all his years in baseball, he had certain ideas of how he wanted the game played. And once he got in there and started to interact with players, he realized it wasn't just a chess game where you're moving people around. You have human emotions. You have guys, strong-willed guys that don't agree with you. So how willing are you to go to the wall, to fight guys over certain things? And you have to learn to kind of back off and give and take. And it's more about managing people and managing egos and all that stuff sometimes than just X's and O's.
One gone for Seth Smith now. A double play depth on the infield, and Moeller's already gotten a couple of ground balls today, and there's one that sneaks by Berkman, and a hard hit ball into right field and bobbled by Hunter. And that will allow Hop to get to third base, although it appeared as if Hop was going anyway. Not so sure that an error will be charged there, because to me it looked as if Hop was burning around second, thinking he'd go for third anyway.
Let's take a peek. This ball is sharply hit, and Hop has to hesitate to let that ball through. Now that's got to be an error. As it kicks away, he decides to. He was giving himself a chance to advance, and it's good base running, going hard to the bag, and then realizing he was going to be able to get third after the miscue. The good news is that the double play is still in order here.
Well, for the first time tonight, the Rockies have a runner as far as second base. Hop 90 feet away. Smith over there at first base. The bottom of the order now working its way to the plate, and Ian Stewart has scuffled to the tune of a 177 batting average. He went down looking his first time up in the third.
Now, obviously, a guy with some holes, hitting just 175, but a dangerous hitter. 20 hits this year, 7 of them have left the ballpark.
Moeller tries him inside, but not working in there. Ball one. Stewart has not had an RBI since May 13th. And he has struggled, interestingly enough, more so against right-handers than against lefties, hitting 146 against right-handed pitching. The 1-0, and boy, he gets a hold of that one. We got a tie game. That's a moonshot to right field into the upper deck. A 3-run shot for Ian Stewart. And just like that, a beautifully pitched game by Brian Moeller is scratched out, back to a tie game.
And Jason Marquis, who gave up a 3 in the first. The first 3 batters he faced all come around to score, and then he settled in, pitched well since then, and has been rewarded with that swing of the bat. We got a brand new ball game. Stewart continues his bizarre season. 21 hits, 8 home runs.
Didn't get cheated on that swing at all.
He's got that home run hitter swing, that kind of low to high uppercut swing.
Now Paul Phillips takes one off the plate. So a new game now in the 5th. Rockies are kind of an oddball club. Moeller hits the corner that time and evens it up now at 1-1. And I mean, maybe Ian Stewart is the greatest example of exactly what the Rockies do. They're 14th in the league in hitting, 14 out of 16 teams, and yet they're up among the top of the league in runs scored.
Yeah, that's really hard to come to terms with, because that ballpark of theirs really influences batting average significantly. So you figure they'd be hitting for a much higher average.
426-foot home run by Stewart, and now Moeller just off the plate trying to get Phillips to chase one there, and it's 2-2. Well, they came in this series, they were 3rd in the league in runs scored. They have since, in just 2 quick games, dropped down to 6th. So obviously a pretty tightly bunched group up there among the top in the league, but they still remain 14th overall in hitting. A 3-run homer this inning has made things interesting.
And the Astros just the opposite, one of the better batting averages in the league, but 14th in the 16-team National League in terms of runs scored. Nice comeback there by Mo. Phillips
rung up 2 strikeouts today for Moeller, and it brings up Marquis. Well, you know, tonight one of those nights, JD, around Major League Baseball where we're looking for certain events, and one of them would be out of the nation's capital, but they're under a lot of rain apparently in Washington, D.C., where the Giants and Nationals were going to get going. Randy Johnson going for his 300th career victory tonight. We're hopeful that one may start up at some juncture here. Marquis lifts a fly ball to center. Easy play for Bourne to his right, and that will end the inning. But a 3-run bomb by Ian Stewart, and it was a bomb, 426 feet. And we've got a new ball game. Pence, Lee, and Berkman coming up. Hey, here's the Chevis Regal replay today in the first.
Astros with 6 hits in this game, all singles, but they were able to bunch 4 of them right out of the chute in the first inning. It led to 3 runs, 5 singles total in that inning. They've had 1 more since. Marquis getting a lot of ground balls in this game, but early on the Astros able to find some holes, and now they're in a position where they're going to have to do it again as the Rockies have come back to knock this one up.
The good news for the Astros is they will send their 3, 4, and 5 hitters in this 5th inning. Boy, Marquis, the other thing he has done, and we talked about this a lot in that first inning, but he got a first pitch strike on just 2 of the first 9 hitters he faced. Since that point, he has thrown a first pitch strike to 7 of the next 11 hitters, and he's kind of gotten back to maybe commanding that two-seamer, that sinker a little bit better.
And it's always the challenge for a pitcher, especially a road pitcher, when you get on a mound and trying to set your sights and get the feel for a new mound.
Pence gets a very good swing here. That ball's carrying well. Fowler with the long run, and Pence is going to run for a while. Smith overran it. Hunter may have a chance, but they'll pull up the stop sign at third. Easy stand-up triple. His second hit of the night. And there's that go-ahead run now, 90 feet away.
Yeah, that's when you got to cash in. And with Lee and Berkman due up next, you got to believe the Astros should be able to get it done. Third triple for Hunter. This ball just misses being a home run, just a little bit to the left field side of that yellow line. You see it here. I mean, by that much, by just a matter of inches. And the fans wanted Dave Clark to send him. It's a tough call for the third base coach. He made the right decision.
Well, especially given who's coming up here. Now, the right side of the infield pulls in with Carlos Lee. The left side plays deep. Now they back up just a smidge. Carlos excellent in executing at his spot. Take strike 1. I mean, there are few in the game as good at getting that man in from third base with less than 2 outs.
Oh, he was so good at it last year.
Already 1 for 1 tonight with a walk. Had a great series against the Rockies, and they'll take that off the plate. 1-1 to count. But 4 for 8 against the Rockies in this series. And we mentioned earlier, has always seen Marquis very well. Trying to break the tie here. Marquis 1-1. There's a comebacker. Marquis tried to barehand it, and he'll save a run. That's a nice defensive play by the veteran right-hander.
You can see it there. A hitter in a situation like this where a fly ball will get the job done. And try to stay inside the ball. Talked about earlier, try to keep the hands in. Watch Carlos pull his hands in. Gives him a better chance of elevating that ball. But even with that, he's not able to get it airborne. And round 1 goes to Marquis here.
Now, I get to visit 2 after barehanding that ball. I think that's Keith Duggar, their head athletic trainer, who is out there taking a look at him. Duggar's been with this organization for a long time, some 17 years. Where's Bart? Check in with him, the progressive fan of the game.
That's right, Dave. It is time for our progressive fan of the game. It's Jamie McCullough. Why is this a special day for you?
It's my birthday today.
And you're how old?
13.
13 years old. That explains the worried look on her dad's face. She's a teenager now. So you got Astros tickets for your birthday.
Yes.
Who's your favorite player?
It used to be Biggio, but now it's Tejada.
Tejada. Well, of course, she's a front runner as well as being 13 years old. Dad, nice job. Great seat.
Thanks.
eBay. You guys are in prime foul ball territory here. You staying alert, right?
That's why I'm protecting her right here.
Congratulations, Jamie. Happy birthday. And congratulations for being our progressive fan of the game. You guys enjoyed the game. Dave, back up to you.
Right on. Thank you, Bart. I can't think of a better way to spend your 13th birthday, or for that matter, any birthday.
Yeah.
Ballpark.
The ballpark. Good entertaining game. Get some grub.
Well, Marquis just missed there with something off speed. Good changeup.
James Hoy, the home plate umpire tonight. They're taking a little heat from the Rocky dugout right now. Now they're going to go ahead and put Lance on.
Makes sense. And this is where Pudge. I don't know how much you get into psychology of this, though. Walking a man in front of you. I mean, if you're Pudge, You feel like you get all puffed up going up there?
That's the whole, whenever this happens, guys will yell from the dugout, don't let him do it to you, don't let him disrespect you. But the reality is, as a hitter, you can't allow that to cloud your thinking. You just have to just go in there and don't change your game plan. Just look for a good pitch. Again, the double play kills the rally, so you're looking for something you can get airborne. Early in the count, early in the at-bat, you're trying to get a ball up, something you can drive. You want to lay off that sinker. You get a couple strikes on you, have to be willing to swing at anything in the zone.
Well, 2 men out there for Ivan Rodriguez. Already has driven in a run tonight. And he's up there hacking. Hard as that is. Good career is just about anybody. 18 fabulous years in the major leagues, and when it's all said and done, will be considered the greatest catcher of all time. I mean, offensively, defensively.
He's on that short list. He and Bench. Probably get some argument from some guys that played Bench Piazza with the offensive numbers.
Ground ball to short should get home the run if they can stay out of the double play, but they can't. 6-4-3. Clint Barmas has had a busy night out at shortstop. Boy, opportunity wasted. A leadoff triple by Pence, but they can't score, and we stay tied going into the 6th.
Favorite movie would be Shawshank Redemption. I love the fact that this guy just was in jail for no reason and decided to beat the system and fight his way out and made it.
So a very, very serious subject matter for his favorite movie there, guys.
It's a good movie. Name the character's name. Tim Robbins played him. 5, 4, 3, 2. Andy Dufresne.
Andy Dufresne. Was he in the French-Canadian tradition, Dufresne? I mean,
that is a French-Canadian name. There is that name floating around my hometown. Yeah.
Then we go to the 6th, and Fowler takes a pretty big rip.
Something special about Andy Dufresne. It was just the minute he showed up. Morgan Freeman, huh?
Yeah.
Great movie.
Oh, funny movie.
A lighthearted romp?
Lighthearted romp. I guess not quite Caddyshack. Fowler with a pretty good into the bat on that one, and Bourne can't get it. Fowler may try for 2. Can Pence get him? No. And a double for the speedy center fielder to start the 6th inning.
Well, Fowler with his speed is a good candidate to steal second base anyway, so. And not that an outfielder processes all that information. This is an instance where Michael's just trusting his instincts, trying to make a play, leaving his feet trying to get that leadoff man out. He comes up just a little bit short. Hunter hustling over in position to help out. And Fowler is too slick. You see the shoulder slump. And Brian Moeller knows he's got to pitch around a leadoff double.
Well, Clint Barmas 1 for 2 tonight. A dangerous right-handed hitter. And he's going to try and move him up. And he's going to do it. And everybody's going to be safe. There's a botched play there. And the Astros in trouble in the 6th inning.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because we started the game in the pregame. We were talking about little things being the difference maker. Last night it was a hustle double by Michael Bourne in the 5th, and then a Bourne sacrifice that the Rockies failed to make a play on that opened the door to tie the game. So now the Rockies get the hustle double. Astros don't make the play on the bunt. This is a situation where they're trying to be aggressive to nail that lead runner at third. So Blum's going to try to stay home, and it's Brian's responsibility to go get anything he can. And he needs to come in and favor the line. He kind of came straight in and took himself out of that play.
Now it gets a little hairy. Fowler at third, Barmas at first, and Todd Helton will take one low. Boy, not a lot of wiggle room here for Brian Moeller in a tie game, 6th inning. He's pitched well tonight, but gave up that 3-run bomb in the 5th, and now going to have to work out of a big jam here in the 6th.
Very similar situation that Marquis faced in the bottom after the leadoff triple by Pence.
Helton trying to serve one into left. Carlos will get there. Fowler's got the speed. He's going to challenge the arm, throw off line, and the Rockies have their first lead of the night. In addition, Barmas moves up to second.
Yeah, that throw's got to go into second base. A situation there where Carlos trying to make a play. It was a tie game, but that throw's got to commit to second base. You're not going to throw Dexter Fowler out. He's too fast. And a good heads-up base running by Barmas. Saw him scramble back to tag to put himself into position to advance.
A costly base for Moeller. And now Brad Hopp. Now the Astros have a left-hander warming. Tim Burdack begins to loosen up in the pen. And they'll put Hopp on for free in the 6th inning. I guess with all the left-handed hitters in the Rockies lineup, Coop thinking he may need to utilize Burdack sooner as opposed to later.
Yeah, he may be thinking Ian Stewart. If the Rockies extend this inning to that point. And Brian's at 64 pitches, so he hasn't worked particularly hard. He was sailing along nicely because of double play balls early. Worked hard there in the 5th.
Well, no-brainer here to put Hopp on for free. He leads all major leaguers with a .488 average with runners in scoring position. So quite literally the last man you'd want to face with a man out there at second base in that spot. So they put him on, set up a double play, and see if they can get it out of Atkins.
Unless you're a contrarian and you would say, this guy's hitting .488. There's no way he can keep this up. He's going to pop one up here. We're going to throw one right down the middle.
You're going Phil Garner on me right there.
That's right. It's a game of percentages.
Some sort of statistical regression done on those odds. And Gar would occasionally go to that as an excuse the next day. I love that stuff. Here's Atkins. Now Atkins, a dangerous hitter. He takes a strike, 0 for 2 today. But a guy who has just absolutely killed this Rockies offense. I mean, he has been one of the great run producers the last couple of years in the big leagues, but this year has been a disaster at the plate. And I mean, they keep batting him, like 5th tonight, but he comes up in these big spots and he continues to hurt him.
And that's the issue that Clint Hurdle had to deal with, and now Jim Tracy will have to deal with. How long do you stay with Atkins? Because sooner or later you assume he's going to get hot. And you don't want him out of that RBI role when he starts to swing it well. And this is not uncommon for him. I mean, it's pretty extreme this year, but he's usually better. He's kind of the Rockies version of Roy Oswalt. From June on in his career, he's been awfully good and struggles a little bit in the early months. Has a tendency to pull off the ball. Gets a little pull happy at times. And he can be vulnerable to breaking stuff, moving away from him.
I ran into Dan O'Dowd, their general manager, today in the lunchroom, and talked just a little bit about their plans here in the near and distant future with the Rockies. Let's just say he's got some plans up his sleeves, he said, in the next 2 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The question I posed him was about this Carlos Gonzalez kid, an outfielder, a center fielder playing for their Colorado Springs Sky Sox in the PCL. And he came over in that Matt Holliday trade. Tearing up the PCL, 340, 10 home runs, bunch of RBIs. He said 2 days. As this one goes between the legs of Pudge, and that's a huge advance on the bases for those two runners. Now the double play no longer in order. We talked about little things, JD. Little things.
Yeah,
and they're just killing the Astros tonight.
Double play gone now. And, you know, the problem is, you think, well, do you walk Atkins and set up the double play? But he's struggling. You got a 2-2 count on him, so I think you got to try to get him out here. And the guy on deck gives you a good tough at bat. So,
well, wild pitch puts him at second and third, and that draws the infield in. A 2-2 count to Garrett Atkins. The Rockies have already taken the lead in the inning, and that'll run the count full.
And this a little bit unorthodox to pull the infield in here. It's just the sixth inning. Certainly not with a man on third only, but man on second and third. And base hit here, he's going to score 2 runs.
Yeah. Well, Atkins opens that stance up, and a big payoff pitch forthcoming here for Moeller. He set up away. Ooh, and there's a ground ball to third. They might get the runner at the plate. Good throw by Blum. Pudge will run Barnes back to third base, but he has nowhere to go because Hop already there. And that's the second out of the inning, and a great out. Blum with a good snag of the ball, hit right to him, and then Pudge running him back to third base. So Atkins again, it's not that they necessarily killed the Rockies right there, but once again can't get the job done.
Yeah, and Barnes going on contact there, hoping that on any softly hit ground ball where an infielder has to move a few steps for it, he would be able to score. You know, in a contact play, you don't read it, you just go. You're trying to get the jump. And not a whole lot lost there because Hop able to get to third. You lose a runner in scoring position at second, and that's what Barmes had in mind. He's trying to stay in the rundown and to try to get Atkins to second base, but Atkins is running down the line through the bag.
So they will have him on the corners as Dewey Robinson completes a conversation with Moeller and Rodriguez, and now James Hoy out there, you know, apparently feeling left out, wanted to get in the action.
Scoring, hanging out at home plate by himself.
I mean, you know, he sidled right up there. Somebody needs to give him a little thing of Tic Tacs. He just sidled right up there next to him. And
it's the side.
Here's a total sideline. Hop at third, Atkins at first, 2 away in the sixth inning. A run already across as the Rockies have their first lead of the night. We're in the sixth. But O'Dowd kind of backed off that 2-day thing with Carlos Gonzalez. He said, it's happening. It's going to happen soon. I don't want to be pinned down to 2 days, but it's coming. As Seth Smith takes one off the plate for a ball. The Rockies, I mean, they're floundering right now in the last place in that Western Division, and the deficit, I think, more than anything else, might be what's troublesome.
The fact that the Dodgers have played so well and opened such a big lead up.
1-0, and that might end it. A lazy fly ball to left. Carlos Lee waits patiently, and that will do it. So the Rockies had them all over the place, but would have to settle for a run. For the first time tonight, the Astros come to the bat trailing 4-3. The freeze cam, frost brewed Coors Light freeze cam.
Well, we were talking about Hunter trying to stay through the ball and get extended, and there's a great example of it there. That was one strong young man. And he can run a little bit too.
Yeah, that's the best part, is you get to see him run.
Yeah,
I mean, nothing better. Takes about 3 strides between bases. Blum in there to lead it off. Takes the ball, and Marquis right back to the dish.
Big news out of Atlanta tonight on 2 fronts.
Yeah.
One, they released Tom Glavine. There was all kinds of speculation that he was down on a rehab assignment, that they would call him up, and they just flat out released him. And then they traded to the Pirates, and they picked up Nate McLeod.
Yeah, that's a big move.
I didn't see that one coming.
No.
So,
What'd they give up for that?
3 minor league prospects. I'm assuming they have to be pretty good prospects.
I would think so. 2-1.
Let's see. I don't know anything about the Braves. They give up outfielder Gorkas Hernandez.
Yes, he's been
one of their top guys, along with Charlie Morton.
Okay.
Doesn't he work for us?
Charlie Norton.
Oh, Norton. And Jeff Locke. You know Locke?
I do not. 2-2. Well hit, but foul.
The Glavine thing really kind of caught me by surprise, because everything I had read is that he was working his way back. He'd had a couple of real good rehab assignments, but apparently they just didn't like his velocity, so they called him in and said, Tommy, we're going to go in a different direction. They gave him the option to retire, and he said, no, I'm going to try to pitch. I've been working so hard to come back. So his agent will be on the phone trying to find him a job.
Little bloop. That's going to fall, and Blum has a base hit to start the 6th. Play Lotto Texas for a chance to win a jackpot as big as the Lone Star State. Right now, the estimated annuitized jackpot is $11 million. So play Lotto Texas today. Maybe it's your lucky day. It's always your lucky day when somebody hands a card in front of you that has annuitized on there. Look out! Man on, here's Edwin Masonette. Blum not moving real well on the bases, but they're going to try and advance him on a bunt, and Masonette gets it down and executes it well. A 1-4 put out as Stewart covered the bag at first base.
They had a home run of a deal with Coca-Cola Value Nights. This package is perfect for families. It includes, let's try that again, 4 mezzanine tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 bottles of any Coca-Cola product, and 2 Astros baseball caps for just $75. That's right, folks, just $75. After the game, Friday Night Fireworks presented by Marathon Oil Corporation. And the next one, of course, this Friday, June 5th, 7:05 ball game.
Moeller done after 6 innings. Jason Michaels will hit for him here in the bottom of the 6th. The 1-run game with a tying run in scoring position, and it's up and in on Jason. Michaels 3 for 21 as a pinch hitter.
Well, the Astros playing for a run here in the bottom half of the 6th, and I think a lot of the reason why you sacrifice there is just because of Marquis' ability to get the ground ball. Fearful of the double play. That bunt more of a defensive play than anything. The other option would have been to maybe try to play a little hit and run.
2-0 now to Jason.
If you are a believer in Moneyball, a statistical analysis that supports that whole theory, you almost never sacrifice bunt with a position player.
Well, especially this early in a ball game. I know it's the 6th inning, but fairly early.
Usually you adopt 1-run strategies from the 7th inning on. And there are extenuating circumstances. Again, I think because of Marquis and all the ground balls he's getting, you're thinking, let's just try to stay out of the double play, take 2 shots to try to drive this run in. We know we're going to pinch it for our pitcher.
Well, Marquis got a call right there. 2-1 now on Jason Michaels. Nibbled off the very edge of the plate, maybe even the theoretical edge of the plate. And that's outside, so 3-1. I mean, the plate itself is 17 inches. It's 17 inches wide. But maybe in the mind of James Hoy, in some sort of, it's bigger. See, now that's 17 inches. But the plate that James Hoy apparently saw 2 pitches ago, theoretically maybe just a little bit bigger.
That one Frank Pulley used to see was really big.
Yeah, well, during and after games.
Frank used about a 24-incher.
That's a good pitch right there and runs the count full. on Michaels. You know, Blum out there at second base, JD, and he is the tying run, but the concern here is really
might take 2 hits
a base
to
hit.
score.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily get him in. I mean, he's not fast as a general rule, but working with that banged up hammy, he's been a little slow these first 2 games back. Michaels ready to pay off on the way, and that's a tap to short. Barmes will get him easily, and Blum now just 90 feet away at third. So it's going to be up to Michael Bourne.
Well, Michael's been very good in these situations this year.
Yeah, that's no kidding. I mean, we were talking earlier about Brad Hopp being the best in all of baseball with runners in scoring position. But Michael Bourne has consistently shown up in the league leaders. In fact, he comes in today 5th in the league with a 400 average with runners in scoring position. Corners are in on him. And a good block by Phillips.
Quick feet allowed him to square up on that pitch. And we're going to finish this Brave thing.
Yeah.
They've called up the phenom, Tommy Hanson, one of the best pitching prospects in all of baseball. So they opted for Hanson as opposed to the veteran Tom Glavine. Could not have been an easy decision with all the emotion involved there with Glavine's great career in Atlanta. But that Hanson kid's got a great future.
1-0, and Bourne will take it in the dirt. Another great stop by Phillips, and Jason Marquis obviously has great confidence in this guy. I mean, those are 2 tough pitches up there with the man at third base.
Yeah, they're trying to go changeup down and away, and he's pulled it across to the opposite side of the plate. Phillips has been able to slide over and block both of them.
JD, I'm not sure if you were down at spring training early enough to see this Tommy Hanson. You saw him, I think, the first time the Astros played.
I saw him on TV.
Atlanta.
The game was televised.
Okay, that's right. He was spectacular. Blum down there at third base. And Marquis in trouble now. 3-0 to Michael Bourne. Miguel Tejada, the man in the on-deck circle, over to the right side. And we've mentioned it tonight. And if you're an Astros fan, you're well aware of the fact that he is the hottest hitter in the game. 3-0. Bourne taking, and he'll have a walk. Well, here comes Miggy. 1-3. Yesterday, Tejada did one of those things very few guys ever are able to accomplish. And he tied the game in the 9th inning to force extras, and then won it in the 11th with that walk-off home run.
He's kind of like LeBron James. He's doing all kinds of heroics.
You know, he said after the ball game, I asked him about, you know, this stretch that he's on, 17-game hitting streak and all the great numbers he's put up. And I asked him if he's had a stretch like this in his career, and he said, yeah, his MVP season in 2002. That was, I think, during that 20-game winning streak they had. Hey, this date in Astros history brought to you by the MD Anderson Cancer Center. 1997, Jeff Bagwell tags Scott Radinsky for a game-winning homer in the 10th. The Astros beat the Dodgers 4-3. Scott Radinsky, lead singer, 10-foot pole.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm sure
10-foot pole.
A little punk group out in Southern California. I'm sure you probably used to.
Not that you're talking about a different Scott Radinsky.
No.
This Scott Radinsky, he does play music. Yeah, he is part of that group.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Astros with a big opportunity here. And since the first inning, Marquis has not given the Astros too many openings. Well, they've got Blum at third base, Bourne at first, 2 gone. But here is Tejada already with a base hit tonight, 1-3. Marquis' pitch count at 85 for the evening, and Tejada could not hold up. Miggy's 17-game hitting streak incidentally coincides with the last time the Astros faced the Rockies. We were in Colorado, and he and Pudge jumped on board with this log, a 38-ounce bat, a weighted bat they used during batting practice, and he's been very hot since. And they'll take one downstairs, 1-1 to count. And he claims it's made his hands that much quicker. The power has come along with all the base hits, the multi-hit games, and this feels like a different guy since using that weighted bat.
He just uses it for BP.
BP, first couple of rounds, usually in the cage underneath, and then comes out and takes his regular BP and feels like his hands whip through the zone. So he can turn it into a big hit here. The 1-1 on the way. And that might end the inning. Atkins sets up. And the Astros squander a chance in the sixth. Had them on the corners, but couldn't get that tying run home. Out of the late stages of the game. Astros baseball on Fox Sports Houston is brought to you by the MD Anderson Cancer Center, by Steel, and by Reliant Energy. Well, off we go now, seventh inning. Tim Burdack will be the new pitcher. And our Reliant power play, Ian Stewart, who will lead it off this inning. Oh boy, he was up in the fifth.
How about that? Pretty impressive swing of the bat for Ian Stewart. That's third or fourth home run he's hit against the Astros.
That one hurt. Astros at the time were leading 3-0. That tied it. They scratched out a run in the sixth and now lead. So Burdack, the left-hander, and finds a strike zone against Stewart. Burdack has struggled mightily against left-handed hitting, more so than one would imagine. He's done a pretty good job against righties.
Oh, he's been brilliant against righties. He was very good against lefties last year, and that's kind of the job description, get lefties out, but you got to get hitters out from both sides of the plate, especially when now you're the only left-hander because you can't play that specialization game quite as much. So I guess it's good news that he's been so good against right-handed hitters because you just assume that sooner or later he's going to start to be a little bit tougher on the lefties.
Stewart doing battle with him here, fouling off a couple, and count 0-2.
Moeller in 6 innings allows 4 runs. Good boy, just that one swing of the bat really obviously influencing his evening's work. By and large, threw the ball pretty well.
Stewart 1 for 2 tonight with that big home run. And Burdack. Whoop. That's a little high.
It's called changing the eye level.
That's it.
Extreme
Effectively
style.
wild.
Yep.
That's what I call a bunch of. Anyway. I think he just missed. Well, now 2-2.
When you throw one way up and then one way down and out, it's tough for the hitter to zero in. You were talking about Masonette earlier making the adjustment and from the minor leagues to the big leagues. And some hitters, when they come to the big leagues, they find it a little bit easier here because generally the pitchers are around the plate more.
In fact, that's the exact point I was trying to get from Masonette, although he wouldn't mind it. Someone's in the dirt.
Well, yeah, the last thing you want to do when you come to the big leagues and have success is make it sound like it's easy.
Yeah.
You got to be very careful. Guys are very guarded as to what they say and what they'll admit to. Yeah, it's easy. It's easier to hit here.
Hey, did you ever throw one, at the mascot or up over the umpire's head or anything just for effect?
No.
What about a wild warm-up here?
No, I throw one up and in for effect.
Probably not playable for Pudge. But give it a good look.
Yeah, the old stories of Ryan Dern with the thick glasses coming in and firing one about 20 feet up on the backstop. Yeah, it looks kind of like Mitch Williams, a little bigger.
Well, Phillips, the man waiting on deck there, their catcher. And then we'll see what they do with Jason Marquis. I mean, the pitch count not out of control by any stretch. He's averaged right about 100 pitches per outing. They may try and squeak a 7th inning out of him.
And, he's such a good hitting pitcher, too.
Yeah.
Gives him an opportunity to stay in some games others would not.
Big swing and a miss by Stewart. And a punch out for Tim Burdack. Good way to start things in the 7th inning. The other thing about Marquis.
Well, this will help bring that batting average down for lefties against the Birdman.
Well, the other thing about Marquis is, and I don't know that it's necessarily been the case in this series, but the Rockies bullpen up until this series has really had a difficult time. I mean, their biggest challenge is getting the ball to Houston Street at the back end of the bullpen, and they've had a tough time doing it. Now, we've seen Manny Corpus all year pitched well against the Astros.
I think the confidence in Manny Corpus must be back, because when we were in Denver, they didn't want to use him in any meaningful situations, and certainly that wasn't the case last night as they brought him into that game late, and he really threw the ball well.
In fact, when I was talking to Mason Ed about some of these guys, these major league pitchers he's seen, that was the one guy he talked about. I mean, that's he was throwing was ridiculous. Phillips will pop it up. We'll see if Bourne was too deep. Well, it doesn't really matter. Mason Ed's going to be the man there. And 2 gone. What's on top of the Astros is brought to you by Bud Light. Here are tomorrow's starters, Hamill and Rodriguez.
And Wandy, a little bit of a bump in the road last 2 times out, so he'll be looking to turn that around. Still has that sparkling ERA here at Minute Maid Park. 0.79, I believe, is the number. It's just crazy. So I feel pretty good about that one tomorrow, and obviously still right in this one.
Well, Marquis indeed stays in to hit, and he takes a strike from Tim Burdack. Oh, 1-run game, and it's going to be up to this Astros pen to keep it that way, at least for the time being. I think he went around, and that's strike 2.
Well, you've got 3, 4, 5 due up in the bottom half of the 7th for the Astros. A lot of games won and lost in the 7th inning.
Now, a couple of guys who see Marquis very well, and now that he's tiring a little bit toward the end of the ball game, might be their big opportunity. The 2-strike pitch, and that's an easy one for Mason Ed. So a 1-2-3 inning for Tim Burdack. Comes on, does a nice job in relief. Stretch time at Minute Maid. Astros looking about that comeback at the bottom of the 7th. Boy, a big first inning for the Astros, but since then just 3 hits off Jason Marquis. And a big home run by Ian Stewart. And right now that's pretty much the key to the ball game. Tejada remains hot though, although he was the final out of that 6th inning. Now in the 7th, might be the Astros' greatest chance tonight since that first inning. It'll be Pence, Lee, and Berkman against Marquis. We'll see if
go time here.
Yeah, maybe fatigue or something like that could help out. Although with a sinker baller, JD, isn't it true that oftentimes as that arm fatigues a little bit, they start getting a little more movement?
Yeah, as long as they keep their arm slot up, and they'll still get that sinking action. If the arm starts to drop, then the two-seamer that normally sinks will flatten out and it'll have run but not sink.
Pence will take a strike to start things off in the 7th inning. Hunter has swung the bat well tonight. 2 for 3. Had the triple his last time up. He just missed getting out.
Let's see, Dave, you were talking about Rockies.
Dan O'Dowd.
Dan O'Dowd, Rockies GM there. And what he's doing now is cleaning up peanuts. Because as we were launching the peanuts in the 7th inning stretch, I tried to go deep down to my right. And I just overthrew, and it smacked right into the side wall. And the bag ripped open, and peanuts went flying everywhere. So my apologies to Dan. He's just trying to watch a ball game. Some idiot fires a bag of peanuts at him. There, yeah.
Nice toss.
Libby's sitting down there with some friends. I was trying to go deep.
The 2-1, and Hunter swings. That one's gonna be gone, and we're tied up on the railroad tracks in left. And Hunter's had himself a night tonight.
Just missed a home run last time by a matter of inches. Settled for a leadoff triple and was left there, so now he takes matters into his own hands. That's a big fly. A big swing of the bat. He's trying to go down and away with the slider, and it's a helicopter, a cement mixer, just spinning but not moving.
Now Carlo. And that just misses. Oh, I'm interested to see what the measurement will be on that one. Way up on the railroad tracks out there at left field. Carlos hammers one to center, and he's on. Great start to the 7th.
Marquis may have stayed around just long enough to lose this game, because I think Jim Tracy's going to have to make a move here with Berkman coming up. With Lance's numbers against Jason, and now that Marquis elevated a couple of pitches. And early in the game, the Astros were getting some hits, but they weren't really hitting the ball that sharply. But now they're on them, and Tracy can't afford to wait any longer.
He makes the signal immediately. And that'll give us a chance to take a look at tonight's Firestone box score. You see scrolling up above. They had Joel Peralta warming up out there along with Randy Flores. Well, you're right. Just a little too much for Jason Marquis, back with a new pitcher. real call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon Wireless as the Rockies will bring in the left-hander Randy Flores.
Yeah. Veteran Randy Flores, lefty, was pitching at the AAA club down in Colorado Springs, called up just a few days ago. A veteran who came up with the Rangers back in 2002. He's worked 6 times for the Rockies this year, and he's pitched well. Only 4 1/3 innings in his 6 appearances. 5 strikeouts, and now walked the man. He was called up when they sent Lyndon Rush on his way. Veteran lefty. Flores, we've seen a bunch over the years with the Cardinals. He wore Cardinal red from 2004 through last year.
Well, he'll take over with a man on. Astros have tied it up on the Hunter Pence home run. Now big Carlos over there at first base, and it brings up Berkman. Berkman, no doubt crestfallen to see Marquis taken out of the ball game. Marquis had a little trouble with command early. We talked about it. He got back on track, but overall really was close to a 50-50 split. 53 strikes, 41 balls. Pitch to Berkman high and away for ball 1. So both starters gone, and well, I mean, Marquis still technically to be on the hook here. But Moeller relieved as the pitch is on the corner to Berkman. They count 1-1. Berkman's got to be about ready. I mean, he's closing in on a milestone of his own, 298 career home runs. Kind of, I guess I had it in my mind that with this long homestand, he might get that round number 300 somewhere on this homestand.
He will. I'm out there too. I made that call the other night. He's going to get there.
Tonight, 0 for 2 with an intentional walk. He has driven in a run with a ground out. And he'll foul this one back out of play. Speaking of big round numbers, we mentioned earlier, Randy Johnson is still waiting out there in D.C., hoping to pitch against the Nationals, still in a delay. And
that's going to be an angry big unit when that game finally starts.
I mean, he's typically in a pretty foul mood when a game starts right on time. But to be sitting out there in the wet weather, waiting to get started on such a big night, no doubt. Berkman holds back. They'll want an appeal, but I can't imagine one would even be granted to count 3-2.
I saw the umpire pick something up. It's a projectile. It's an airplane coming in for a landing out there.
We already had our play of the game.
So
that's a pretty good effort right there. Brought to you by Continental. Here's a 2-2, and that's line over short. Base hit. Carlos chugs to second. 2-man aboard for Pudge.
Slowly but surely, that batting average for Lance continues to creep up. Swinging the bat here. Carlos has to freeze to make sure that ball gets through. And Jim Tracy is going to make another move.
Alan Embry was out there at Joel Peralta, and I got to believe that Peralta would be the man coming on. I mean, that's just a guess.
Good guess.
4-4 score, and I mean, we might as well take a break with them. 7th inning.
Peralta's a new pitcher, and we saw him work 2/3 of an inning last night. He's been in 4 games for the Rockies with an ERA of 2.84. A decent fastball slider. Showed a good split finger pitch last night. Struck out 6, walked 1.
Yeah, I was looking through their entire staff of relievers. I mean, what you want right here clearly is a ground ball. You got Astros have 2 men on, nobody out, and you need something to maybe turn the momentum of this inning. 1 run already across as the Astros have tied it. The ratios in terms of their career, in terms of the season, they're all fly ball pitchers. I mean, really? the only ground ball pitcher they have is Manny Cortes. And, you know, they've lost a little confidence in him, but all these guys, fly ball pitchers, and they've just struggled mightily this year. Lee is at second, Berkman is at first, and here is Pudge. And Rodriguez 1 for 3 tonight, a chance to put the Astros back in front in the bottom of the 7th inning. Peralta missing wildly out there.
Again, here's a situation where some might say, well, why isn't he bunting? Now we're in that stage of the ball game where you play for a run, and in terms of a percentage, the no-out bunt with runners on first and second is the most effective in terms of run expectancy. But again, the personnel tells you otherwise.
Well, let me play devil's advocate. They'll take one off the plate, 2-0 to count. You talk about the personnel. I mean, the fact of the matter is, he's bounced into more double plays than anybody on the club. I mean, he's bounced into 8 of them, and just short of the league lead in that category. And so he's oftentimes a candidate to kill an inning.
Right.
And so does that maybe make you, or does that factor in your decision to maybe think about it?
When I talk about the personnel and why it affects the decision is how confident are you that he's going to get a bunt down?
I'm going to wave right through that one.
But yeah, I mean, let's see what Pudge has done. I hit the wrong button here. See in his career how many times and how recently he's. They tried to have him bunt in Chicago, I think, and it didn't work out.
You want to get Blum up there with somebody in scoring position.
He does have his 1 sacrifice this year, had 3 all of last year. So
waits to another good fastball. It's 2-2.
So it would be a legitimate try. So let's kind of fast forward it. So let's say he gets a successful bunt down. He might be inclined to intentionally walk Blum. That gets you down to Masonette. Double play still in order. I don't know. One of those kind of gray zone deals.
I like to make my decision after the at-bat.
Yeah, that always works for me.
It's a 2-2.
I'll let you know what the right play was here in just a little bit.
He stays alive up there. But to me, even though it is the 7th inning, and I think that there's a very general trend as manager, let the players play the first 6, I'll manage the 7th, 8th, and 9th. But I still feel like in some ways it's early in this game. The tie game in the 7th, you don't know how many more opportunities you'll get, but I just have an inkling that it's too early to give up the out just to move these runners up. And in that way, I think Coop and I are on the same page. Peralta's 2-2. Good battle here with Pudge. I'm trying to find out this day of modern technology, catching some of the San Francisco Giants guys to see if there's any chance of that game being played tonight in Washington. Again, Randy Johnson waiting, and he's sitting on 299 wins.
The fact that they're still calling it a delay and not a rainout, unless they just haven't changed that board out there, and I haven't looked at any news lately.
Well, the internet, as it were, has it also as a delay. So there's still apparently hope.
They probably got a big crowd in Washington tonight to watch.
Well, that's a good
They don't want to lose that gate.
Peralta's 2-2. And that's a hard hit ball to third. Great play by Atkins. Oh, boy.
That's just buzzer luck there.
Well, the good news is that neither Lee nor Berkman were straying too far off their respective bases. And both able to get back. The ball hit that hard. You really worry about the potential for a double play.
Yeah, well, it hit so sharply they didn't have a chance to get too far off.
So Lee stays at second. Berkman still at first. Now one gone. And Blum will get a chance. Today, Jeff is 2 for 3. His second game back from about a week off with that hamstring injury. Peralta, the third pitcher of the night for the Rockies, and he'll miss outside with ball 1. That was a great first inning. 3 runs on 5 hits. Astros added a run this inning on a mammoth home run by Hunter Pence. But overall, the Astros 3 for 11 this evening with runners in scoring position. A chance right here for Blum. Peralta's 1-0. And that ball popped up.
You know what that means?
They're due.
If he gets a base hit here, it's 333 with runners in scoring position tonight.
The magic number?
They went from not good to really good. Well, the one swing of the bat.
Blum and Peralta have never faced one another, at least prior to this series. Peralta, as you mentioned, pitched 2/3 of an inning last night.
Not a big crowd, but a spirited crowd. Folks really into it here.
Up 22,032 that paid attendance. Astros on a 3-game winning streak, and that matches their longest for the season. Here, 52 games into the regular season. Trying to make it 4 tonight. Peralta's 1-1. And that's a bouncing ball to first, and they might get 2 out of it. The relay by Barnes gets away from Helton, and that's going to allow Carlos to score the go-ahead run. And I need to correct myself. It wasn't Helton at first base at all. It was Peralta covering on an attempted 3-6-1 double play. Not a great throw, but a ball that I guess on any given night you would suspect Peralta would be able to catch.
Yeah, Astros catch a big break here. Sharply hit ground ball. Helton goes to second for 1. And then the return throw just clanked by Peralta. I don't know if Helton would have had time to scramble back. You'd rather have your first baseman there to make the play, but apparently he couldn't make it back. Let's see. He makes that toss. Yeah, there's no way Helton's going to be in good position to make a catch there. Peralta looked to me like he just stretched a little too early, put himself in bad position.
Well, an error charged to Barnes.
Really? I'd have to look at that again. I don't think that throw was even in the dirt.
Now Edwin Mason at it. He'll take it outside corner for a strike.
However you want to define it, that's a huge break for the Astros.
You can call it an error. You can call it whatever you'd like. 2 runs in the inning. Masonette walked in the first inning. Was laid down a sacrifice. He's 0 for 1. And he's buckled a little bit on that breaking ball there from Peralta. 5 to 4. Well, here's your look at that throw from Barnes. There's off the glove.
I don't think I could charge Barnes with an error there. It's an error on the pitcher.
Clearly hit Peralta.
I mean, it's not. It's been ruled an error on the shortstop. I'm just saying, in my opinion.
Big swing and a miss by Masonette. He went chasing, and that'll end the inning. But the Astros come from behind, pick up 2 big runs. Pence with a blast, and they scratch out another. And now, once again, working with a lead as we go to the 8th.
have jumped up back on top of the Rockies 5-4 as we head to the 8th. The Astros are celebrating their 10 years in Minute Maid Park this season, and to honor some of the great moments in the ballpark, we present the 10-year Bracket Challenge. Go to Astros.com to cast your vote for your favorite Minute Maid Park moment today and to pick the top moment in the park's history. Okay, back to you.
All right, thank you, Bart. And a double switch as we go to the 8th inning. Sampson will come into the ballgame batting 8th, and Jeff Keppinger takes over at second base. Top of the order due up here for the Rockies.
Chris worked in game 1 of the series, the Oswalt game, pitched scoreless inning. Having a real nice year, 2-0 with an ERA just a tad above 2.
Fowler thinking about bunting there and watches it off the plate for a ball.
Tim Burdack could be the winning pitcher in this game.
They did a nice job too. Perfect 7th inning. Came in with the club trailing, leads with them leading. Fowler smacks that one treadly toward the Rockies dugout. 0-2 the count. Pardon me, 1-1 the count. That first pitch missed. So Marquis 6 innings today, 10 hits. Only 4 of the 5 runs he gave up were earned. He hurt himself with 4 walks tonight. Struck out 2. Sampson now the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Astros. Fowler again thinking about it. This time takes a strike. That's 1-2.
That is really peculiar to have a hitter show bunt when he's got a strike already on him in the count and then take the pitch. Maybe just got fooled because Sampson came with the breaking pitch.
Now the 1-2. Trying to check that swing up. No appeal. None asked for anyway. He didn't go around.
Yeah, and you were talking earlier about the split grip he uses. You can see it's pretty subtle, but you can see a little break in his hands.
Feels like it gives him better bat control, he says.
It worked for Ty Cobb.
Yeah, it did all right. Bouncer foul, keeps the count at 2-2. Did you ever experiment with that? That might have helped.
You know, I'm wondering if I was really a right-handed hitter and just never knew it.
I got to tell you, man, hitting the baseball is such an incredibly difficult athletic maneuver. I'm amazed at a guy like Fowler who doesn't even begin to switch hit until he becomes a pro. I don't know how you could even attempt to do something like that unless you've been doing it pretty much all your life. 2-2, and he whiffs. Big strikeout for Chris Sampson, and that's how we start things in the 8th inning.
Fowler, obviously an important guy to keep off. You always want to focus on that leadoff batter, but especially a guy with his kind of speed.
Nice to keep him off the bases. Now Clint Barmes, who has a couple of base hits tonight, 2 for 3. Sampson's first offer. Gets the corner. Sampson has been an amazing story, the way he has gone from position player, leaves the game for 3 years, comes back as a pitcher. Barmes will tap one to second base. Easy play for Keppinger, just checked in, 2 gone. But, the mere fact he left for 3 years, came back and made it back to the big leagues is remarkable. But the way in which he has really found a home with this ball club. I mean, they tried him as a starter, with mixed results. He was in the bullpen for a bit with mixed results. But then all of a sudden, it seemed like last year they were in Pittsburgh. I'll never forget it. They took him out of the rotation, put him in the pen. And he's just been brilliant ever since then.
Yeah, and he's a guy that kind of sneaks up on you a little bit because he doesn't throw 95 miles an hour, but he really knows how to pitch and he rotates extremely well. He's such a good athlete, and he stays really balanced out there, and that allows him to repeat that delivery. And he just throws a lot of quality strikes. It's not a guy who's going to blow it by you, but 89 to 91 with good movement, good tight breaking ball.
Now he deals with Helton. A 1-0. Good breaking ball, finds a corner.
He elevated his profile in the last couple of years from kind of a long middle guy, a spot starter type, to a guy you really count on in the late innings now.
His 1-1. Big swing at that breaking ball. For strike 2. I mean, it's to the point now, of course, with Alberti, who has been down, and Brocail down, and Geary down. He has gone from being a real good bullpen guy to kind of the setup man for a while. He's even closed a couple of games. 1-2 pitch, and Helton went down and got that. A golf shot to right field. It stays in the ballpark, but a long run for Hunter Pence, and Helton will be happy with a 2-out double in the 8th.
Well, Todd Helton, obviously one of the better hitters of this generation. He's such a smart hitter, obviously very talented. Most of what Chris does is down. The sinker, the breaking pitches, he likes to keep the ball down. So Helton says, all right, I'm going to work down there. I'll go down and get one.
Did he? That's a nice swing. And now a conversation between Rodriguez and Sampson. And right as it breaks up, Dewey Robinson comes racing in. I believe Alberto Arias was throwing just a moment ago out of the bullpen, but he is now down. So
here's an interesting situation. You got first base open. You got Brad Hopp coming up, hitting .353. You talked about him earlier, what he's done with runners in scoring position. Most managers are loath to put the go-ahead run on base, but it certainly makes sense if you opt to do it here with Atkins, the struggling right-handed hitter, on deck.
Well, let's put it this way. You are the pitcher in this situation. Would you want to put him on?
I'm left-handed.
Well, all right. Let's imagine it's the opposite scenario. Let's say Hopp's a right-handed hitter.
This is one, I think most pitchers are of the mind they always feel like, I can get this guy out. So, but if the manager comes down and says, here's how we're going to play it, you don't bristle, you don't argue with him in this situation. You go, okay, I get it. Dangerous left-handed hitter, struggling right-handed hitter up next.
You're a smart guy. Did you have a difficult time at all balancing being smart about what you did and the machismo that's inevitable? Would you ever puff yourself up a little bit and just decide to? Well,
most of the time it was taken out of your hands. Very rarely, and I think that gets overstated to this day. People say, oh, he's out there talking to him. What does he want to do? Almost always that decision is already made. It comes from the dugout. We're going to put this guy on. You don't usually get a chance to debate it. So you might get mad about it. You might, vent about it a little bit later on. But rarely do you have that conversation.
I'm sorry, that's the incorrect answer. What I was looking for was.
Correct answer is yes.
Here's Garrett Atkins, and he'll take a strike. That's one of those where Atkins sitting that on deck circle. You can only imagine what was going through his mind. I mean, it's been a struggle. The average at 192 coming into today. It's dipped further now down to 189. And he's been in a free fall. And he waves and misses and is in a hole 0-2. And, he knows that the eyes of his teammates, his manager, everybody on him right now. The game hanging in the balance. It's a one-run contest in the 8th. This might be the best and only opportunity they get. And here he is. Sampson trying to get out of the jam. The 0-2. Just missed.
What happens to a player is you want to be instinctive. You want to be reactive. See the ball, go get it. Just trust your instincts. But when you're struggling the way Garrett is, you tend to think a lot. And it's hard to play this game while you're thinking. You want to have all your thinking done before you stand in there.
Sampson's 1-2. And good job by Atkins to stay alive. Boy, a 3-run first inning for the Astros, but the Rockies came back. Ian Stewart, a mammoth 3-run cloud in the 5th inning. Then they took a lead with a run in the 6th, but the Astros plated 2 runs in the 7th and have the 1-run advantage. Atkins up there in a big spot. Sampson's 1-2 pitch, and that's dribbled foul.
That ball ran in on his knuckles. I think they were trying to go away. My hunch is they're going to try to get him out. Outer part of the plate or just off of it. If they come in, they'll come in off the plate just to try to push him off a little bit and set up something away.
Atkins 0 for 3 tonight. Sampson with a check of the runners, and here it comes. And that's a pop-up. Left field should get it done. Here comes Carlos. El Caballo hauls it in, and Sampson gets out of the jam. No runs on the hit, and the Rockies leave 2 big runners. Bottom of the 8th, Astros lead by 1.
AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered.
Man, that looked like fun. Wish I was there.
Yeah, she's ready to play.
The pink glove, I haven't seen that one in a while. Here's Keppinger, came into the double switch. Manny Corpus is the new pitcher. And there's that nasty fastball in there for a strike. This guy's got a two-seamer that darts and moves all over the map, and then that big slider. It's been a bit of an adventure, though, for the Rockies this year. There's that slider. Hey, they changed that scoring decision you were so upset about.
Hey, it was okay, man.
Oh, you were fired up.
I knew they'd get it right.
Changed it.
I knew Ivey'd take another look at it.
1-1 pitch. And Kep swings right to it. And Keppinger hitting .279 coming in. That's a couple of home runs. That's the 11th, by the way, the 11th error on a Rockies pitcher this year.
Really?
That's a high number.
That's a big number. Sounds like they've got some PFP in their future.
Yeah, I guess. Keppinger with a big swing and a miss, and that's a strikeout for Manny Corpus.
That's a good action on the fastball. So, you know, he's a guy who goes east and west really well. That slider or cutter that he throws moving hard away from the right-handed hitters, and that two-seamer that runs in on their knuckles. If you guess wrong, you're going to have a tough time handling him.
JD, as you know, radio's a slightly more informal medium than television. And we call him Manny Corpus. I noticed in the game notes he's listed as Manuel Corpus. And I don't know. I'd like to know what you guys do here on the television.
Well, he's always been Manny, but maybe because he struggled early, maybe he changed. Maybe he wants to be Manuel now. Maybe he feels a little better.
Does make a little sense to me. Starts Bourne off with a strike. And Michael will watch one in. There's that hard biting slider. So a 1-run lead. And I don't see any action out of the Astros bullpen. So very well may be that Sampson goes out for 2. Here's the 1-1.
Yeah, which would explain the double switch.
Right.
This inning.
Yeah, base hit for Bourne.
And maybe Hawk needs a night off.
You know, you can follow the Astros on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com's @Bat 2009. And this thing is the coolest thing I know. Features play-by-play video highlights, live audio broadcasts. Go to Astros.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch and purchase today. It's like $9.99. It's the coolest thing you'll get on your iPhone or your iPod Touch. Don't forget, All-Star voting has begun as well. Get online, vote Astros, and vote off. So now Bourne on there, and that represents a pretty big insurance run.
Sure does, especially if Hawkins isn't available.
And he'll immediately draw the attention of Manny Corpus. You have @Bat on your phone.
I do, yeah. I listened to it on the way home the other night in the car. Plugged in the headphones and stuck one in my ear because I didn't have the adapter for the car, but I was listening to
the Cubs game.
Diamondbacks, Padres, maybe.
There's a strike poured in there to Tejada in the count of 1-1. By the way, I did get a text back from Dave Fleming, one of the Giants broadcasters, and the San Francisco Giants are out in Washington today. It's a little past 10:30 on the East Coast, and he informs me that they're looking at a potential 11:15 or 11:30 start time on the East Coast for Randy Johnson going for number 300. One strike pitch to Tejada, and that's bounced foul, third base side.
So obviously they sold a lot of tickets for that game, and people choose to go home and to hang with them if they play them. So, I mean, is that fair to your? Well, what's today? Wednesday? So it's probably the final game of the series. They're not going back there.
Yeah, now that's
I don't know
what's
going on. We've already got that. You know, we got a suspended game with the Nationals that will make up when they come to town. They'll be the home team as we continue that game in the 11th inning when the Nats come to town. Yeah, so I thought it was strictly greed because I think of it that way. But it's the Giants' only trip to Washington, and it's probably they probably got to do everything they can to get that game played. And they probably sold a lot of tickets because Randy Johnson's going for 300.
Woo, up and in. And Tejada gets out of the way. 1-2 now the count on Miguel. 5-4 Astros. Look at this one.
It's a little drop down delivery plus the run that just chases a right-handed hitter. So not a comfortable at bat for a righty off a guy like Corpus.
You think a little bit. Tejada 1 for 4 tonight, singled and scored back in the first.
You're less inclined to dive to cover that outside corner when you've got a guy who's willing to bust you up and in. And that's why pitchers just don't do it enough. You need to establish that pitch early on. Starters in particular.
Bourne draws yet another throw over at first base, and again, for good reason. Michael leads the National League in stolen bases, represents a huge run in this 8th inning over there at first base. 17 steals and 21 attempts. And Rocky's catching has not done a particularly good job of throwing out base runners. He's going. The 1-2 pitch is a called strike that throws late. And Bourne in scoring position, but Tejada goes down looking for out number 2.
Yeah, he got the stolen base, but I think sometimes a base runner running there with 2 strikes can be a little disconcerting for a hitter. Miggy almost never strikes out, and he really rarely ever strikes out looking. That fastball right down the middle, and I think with Bourne moving, he might have just had his attention diverted a little bit. But having said that, that the guy who's having the night, the man of the match, Hunter Pence, stepping up there with 3 knocks already, including that big home run, and you got Michael Bourne in scoring position.
Now, Hunter also a double away from the cycle. Singled and scored in the first inning, drove in a run, tripled in the 5th, homered in the 7th. He's up there with 2 out, and Corpus to the plate. And that one right on the outside corner for a strike. Now, we never did get an official measurement, I don't believe, on the Pence home run. So I think for historical purposes, it'll just have to go down as like 1,000 feet.
Yeah, we'll just call it.
Not sure it's even come down. Would have hit the train if it had been just a little bit further to the left. That's off the glove of Phillips, and Bourne with his great speed and easy advance to third base. Pass ball. Pence still has to come up with a base hit to get him home.
Well, the Astros got a gift for that 5th run when Peralta couldn't handle the relay throw on the potential inning-ending double play back in the 7th. Now another freebie and just at least 90 feet worth.
Is there anywhere to check and see when and if Hunter has ever had a cycle before?
I don't believe he has. The last cycle by the Astros was Luke Scott.
Look at this.
06.
1-1 pitch. And there's a swing, and that one's flared over first into right field. Base hit. That'll score Bourne. And a big insurance run indeed comes through. Pence with a 4-hit night. And just shy of the cycle. 6-4 Astros.
Just a thing of beauty right there. All you needed was a base hit, and Hunter delivered. Bourne works his way around the bases. Single stolen base. Advance on the pass ball. A little chip shot. Single to right field. We got a little insurance.
By the way, 9th inning, the Rockies will have Seth Smith, Ian Stewart, Paul Phillips due up. They're 6, 7, and 8 hitters. Now the pitch on the way to Carlos, and he'll take it a little high for a ball. So a big run in, and it gets Carlos Lee to the plate again, already with 2 hits tonight, 2 for 3 with a walk. Corpus deals, and that's a bouncer to short. Barmes has had a nice night. Got to retire Pence to end it, but the Astros pick up a pretty big run. We go to the 9th inning now. Sampson apparently going to be allowed to finish it off. 6-4 Astros. Astros baseball on Fox Sports Houston, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, by your Texas Ford dealers, by the Progressive Insurance Group, and by Budweiser Select. Chris Sampson going to try it for his 3rd save of the year, and Darren Erstad will come in to help him in left. Well, Sammy is scoreless 8th, and now we'll have Seth Smith, Ian Stewart, and Paul Phillips in the 9th inning. Astros will stretch that winning streak to a season-high 4 games tonight. Slider right in there for a strike to Smith.
4 in a row is not going to get you printing playoff tickets, but no, I'm serious. It's a nice little run, especially considering it comes on the heels of that 7-game losing streak.
One strike pitch fouled off. Well, and again, I think you go back to the way they have won 4 games, and Moeller, his line perhaps doesn't look as good as he pitched. I mean, he went 6 innings, gave up 4 runs on 7 hits, but really pitched pretty well. And Ian Stewart had that one big swing in the 5th inning for a 3-run homer, and otherwise, the line looks a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Not that you can take that one pitch back.
Right. He threw the ball well, so you feel good about where he's at right now. The Astros coming from behind last night, again tonight, and they had the longest streak of 30 games since they had come from behind after the 6th inning. So nice to be able to get that monkey off the back.
They sure have enjoyed playing the Rockies here at Minute Maid Park. It's now the 10th season at Minute Maid. It's the 0-2. Very high.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
trying
feel
to go
bad
to
about firing those peanuts into the GM's box. My goodness.
Well, they're trying to go to 24-7 now here against the Rockies. And Dan O'Dowd was not in a great mood before the ball game, talking about all these player moves he's going to have to make.
He had to fire his manager. They're in last place.
And you drilled him with
some bozo fires a bag of peanuts in his box.
Sampson a little high again in the count 2-2. What made you?
I'll be sure to apologize for you though when I see it.
Where were you trying to go with it?
I was trying to throw a sinker. I was trying to get it to fade to the left down to Libby and her friends, just down there in section 221.
The 2-2 from Chris. And there's a slider bounce between first and second, and Lance way off the bag will handle it with a little help from Chris Sampson. 1 out in the 9th inning.
Well, Chris very adept at getting that those left-handed hitters to roll over on his sinker. He gets a lot of ground balls like that. I mean, he and Lance have teamed up a bunch of times this year. Here's what we were talking about earlier.
Good. That's great. Yeah. As you can see, video proof. But see, what I see there is too much enjoyment.
Well, I didn't realize where they ended up. I just knew I'd smashed the bag on something. I didn't realize it got all over the visiting GM's score sheet with a cup of coffee.
Here's Ian Stewart now. He had that big shot for the Rockies tonight, and he'll take a slider for a strike. Ryan Spilborgh's into that on-deck circle, apparently to pinch hit in this 9th inning.
See, and that, again, this is one of the nice side effects of the Valverde injury. It's forced everybody else in the bullpen into a little bit bigger role, and that could really pay off down the road. Troy Hawkins has been solid. Chris Sampson has stepped up in a big way. Jeff Fulchino's taken on a more meaningful role here. And then when a big Val comes back, you've got options. If Jose has worked 2-3 days in a row and he's a little tender, and you got Hawk, you could use Sampson. I mean, obviously you don't want to see people get hurt, and you feel like you're a better club when Valverde's healthy. But, sometimes an early season injury gives other people an opportunity, and in the long run, makes you a better club.
Speaking of whom, Valverde today did some PFP, pitchers fielding practice, to balls off the side of the mound, running to cover first base. So that kind of stuff went very well. And they're talking about sending him out here pretty soon. Sampson trying to finish off Stewart. And misses with a fastball. 2-2 the count. 13 hits tonight for the Astros. Another big offensive night. And whatever it is, Jason Marquis has pitched exceedingly well around the league, but the Astros have enjoyed seeing him. Here's a 2-2. There's a swing at a slider, and that one's going to get through into left field. So Stewart is on with his second hit of the night, and it brings up the potential tying run and pinch hitter Ryan Spilborghs. Spielborgs has been a guy in a bit of a tailspin, though, too. 0 for his last 8.
Yeah, pretty good player. Good, fourth outfield type. Guy who can handle center field for you. He usually gives you a pretty tough at bat, but struggling right now. Overall this year, hitting .259. He's got a little pop. He's hit 4 home runs.
Now Sampson, very adept at getting ground balls, and has this one popped up for a strike. But usually when Chris allows a base runner in an inning in which he has pitched, I try to make the point that he's simply setting up his bread and butter, which is the double play. So perhaps that's again what he has done here in the 9th inning, with the Astros leading by 2. 1 strike pitch, just off the plate.
Well, the one thing you want to guard against here is just making a mistake on the inner half.
The 1-1 on the way. And that ball hit well. Long run, Michael Bourne. Can he get there? He does! And another fabulous play by Michael Bourne in center field. Spielborgs got to be talking to himself as he heads back toward the dugout. Hit that 410, 415 feet. And it's a long out for the second out of the 9th inning.
Now, bad aim by Ryan Spielborgs. Straightaway center field, or just a little bit to the right thereof, but hit it high, and that allows Michael Bourne with that great speed to run under it.
Sampson, a fan. Double play nothing. He'll become a fly ball pitcher. So 2 gone, and Matt Merton will pinch hit here. And the Rockies down to their final out. So 2 away. Sandy will try and finish it off. And Merton, did he go? Apparently not, says Lance Barksdale. Pretty
2
close.
outs and a 2-run lead. Lance Berkman will play behind Stewart down there at first base. Enhance his range, help him defend the field a little bit, but he's not going to go too far behind. He doesn't want to give him just a huge secondary lead, because you want to be able to have a chance at a force play at second base. If Merton hits the ball in the hole to the shortstop, oftentimes the only option for the shortstop is to force it at second. So if Lance plays way back behind Stewart, he gets a huge lead, and that option is taken away from him.
Stewart walks off the bag. Sampson's 2-0. Oh, really working that outside against Merton and unable to find the corner out there. Whether in reality or even theoretically with James Hoare.
Yeah, and maybe just a little adrenaline pumping through his veins right now. You got to settle it down, not try to overthrow. Just trust your stuff and allow that good moving fastball to work for you.
Dexter Fowler, the man on deck. They set up away again on Merton. And here it comes. And that's below the knees. Ball 4. Now the tying runs are on. Making it interesting now in the 9th inning. Berkman will come over from first base and try and join in the conversation. Pudge not only likes to go out to the mound and talk to his pitchers, he's really into the touching. Arm around the shoulder, and
well, that's
it's a very intimate moment.
That entered the game a few years ago. There's you see it now. Mike Maddox does it all the time, but it's a psychological thing. When you talk to somebody, you reinforce it by put your hand on their shoulder. It's a bonding thing. It's me and you together, pal. We're going to fight our way through this.
All right, we'll see if that's exactly what Sampson does here with Dexter Fowler. 9 hits tonight for the Rockies. They've had runners all over the place. Sampson needs 1 more to close it out. The pitch on the way to Fowler bounces up into the face mask
right there. And Mad Dog says he used to go out and he'd put his hand up on the guy's shoulder and neck and he'd try to feel it for a pulse. To see if he said, yeah, that's what Mike said. He would feel it if the guy's heart was pumping. He'd say, come on, man, we got to relax here.
Where's that shot of the bull?
I only report what I'm told.
Okay. Poles. Here's the 1-0. And that's a strike. I mean,
the pitching coach go out there with blood pressure. Skip, he's out of control. We need to make a move.
This won't hurt a bit.
Pop him up in this ball game so I can stop taking this abuse.
Simpson's 1-1. Got it in the air. Foul ball, strike 2 though, and now Fowler and the Rockies down to their final strike. And that'll get the crowd here of 22,000 plus on their feet. Astros looking for their longest winning streak of the season. Trying to win it for Tim Burdack. Here it comes. And that should do it. Bourne is there. Puts a squeeze on it. And it's over. Astros win it 6-4. Sampson with his third save of the season. And the heroics today, Hunter Pence with a huge home run of the 7th. And helped drive in that big insurance run in the 8th. It's a 4-game streak, JD.
Yeah, how about that? And you doubt me now on the pulse? Did you see Sampson's reaction after he got that save? Think his heart rate wasn't elevated a little bit?
Pretty good stuff. Once again, final score today. Astros win it 6-4.